Chapter-901-Ancestral Gambling. Lu Han's tone was very rude, and subconsciously he showed a preaching tone. The guest opposite the little boy was shaking the dice clock. The little boy raised his head and glanced at Lu Han. With the appearance of the old god, he left 50,000 chips in the area with "big" written on it, and then said, "Ancestral gambling, it has been passed down through 3 generations of the family, and in my generation, I cannot let the craftsmanship go to waste." Quote. His voice is very nice and has a very glutinous feeling. Lu Han's face shook a few times unnaturally. "Fuck your mother's ancestral gambling skills." Different from Lu Han's reaction, all the others present showed a clear look. No wonder this kid is young, but he gambles fiercely. It turned out to be an ancestral inheritance. It sounds unusual, but it is easy to believe, because there are indeed professional gamblers in this world, from master to student, from father to son, and gambling skills are also real. Rolling the dice looks like luck, but experts can listen to the sound to identify the situation of the dice in the dice clock. This is gambling. The edge of Lu Han's hat was pressed very low, so that no one could see his whole face. The little boy must have known Lu Han's face. He must have seen statues and portraits. Lu Han was thinking about how to recognize his son in a peaceful way and appear with his father's face, but he could not prove he is his father. He will cause trouble. The game continues. Lu Han has played more than 10 times in a row, just to control the big and small, lose more and win less. His gambling luck today is very bad. "What's your name?" Lu Han suddenly asked again. "Ali," the little boy responded casually. It was his turn to sit in the village. He picked up the dice clock and asked casually, "How about you?" "Ghosts see sorrow," Lu Han said. The little boy was stunned for a moment, then blinked his big eyes to look at Lu Han, and as soon as his eyes rolled, he started shaking the dice clock, and began to shout something like, "Buy and leave." When he dunked the dice, the others also finished their bets. With his extraordinary strength, Lu Han heard that the number of the dice should be big, and the number of 3 dice was more than 9, and he played the big one, while 5 of the other 7 gamblers present were the big one. It's open. The little boy glanced at everyone present and opened the dice clock. 3 dice, 2 of them are stacked together, one is 5 o'clock, the one above is 5 o'clock, and the one above is 10 o'clock, unless the bottom is also 5 o'clock, it will form a leopard that can be killed, otherwise, the little boy will lose. The little boy took off the top dice very slowly, and the bottom one, 5 o'clock. "Leopard, kill," the little boy said lightly. "Fuck," Lu Han cried out in his heart, but he heard it wrong. It should be 552, why is it 555? It is worth mentioning that on the dice, the opposite of the 2 is the 5, that is to say, if the 5 is up, and the 180 degree is reversed, the 2 will be up and the 5 will be down. This kid can't cheat, right? Lu Han thought for a while, then glanced at the others around him. They all sighed and admired a little. Obviously, they didn't think Ali was cheating. Could it be a profound gambling technique? Gui Jianqiu is not a name, right? Ali suddenly asked Lu Han. "Yeah," Lu Han responded with a nasal voice. "Why use this code name?" "No why, just a code name." "Oh. Apparently, Ali has heard the code name, Ghost Seeing Sorrow. Perhaps it was the story Tsunade told him, because back then, when Lu Han was in the Land of Rain, he used this code name to deceive Tsunade, and even helped Tsunade crack Chio's poison. I don't know what he was thinking. Time flies. About 2 hours later, Lu Han lost all his chips, and immediately greeted the outside again. Oda was indeed guarding outside. Lu Han took out all the money he had exchanged at Konoha before, almost 5 million, and handed it over to him. Oda to exchange. The gamblers in the room all looked sideways at Lu Han, and some people smiled faintly or even laughed. This is Yuhi's loss. They have seen many such gamblers. Of course Lu Han didn't lose Yuhi's eyes, it was like a drizzle of money, and he lost all the money to his son. Since Lu Han joined the game, Li's luck has gotten better and better. In 2 hours, he 3 million won taels, of which 1 million taels belonged to Lu Han. While Lu Han was losing money, he also got close to Ali, asking questions and attacking from side to side. Ali is very educated and speaks in a leisurely manner. There are some things he doesn't want to answer, and he won't expressly refuse. For example, when Lu Han asked him who taught him gambling skills, he answered his family, but didn't say who it was. After another hour, the two gamblers who had lost all their money left, and after another half an hour, 2 new gamblers were brought in to join the game. So, 4 hours passed. It's night time, and 16 people have been in and out of this box. Except for Ali, all of them have lost. Lu Han was the worst loser. He had lost almost 6 million taels of chips, while Ali won no less than 20 million taels. Multiple normalization, which is rare. Because the wins and losses are huge, the casino's rake is also high. The dealer named Irobi has already taken no 1 million rake. Everyone's eyes on Ali were wrong, including a few big gamblers who lost 2 or 3 million taels, and already lost Yuhi's eyes. Damn, this kid's luck is going against the sky today. There is no possibility of cheating. Because Lu Han also used to sit in the village, he checked the dice and the dice clock, and they all had a very strong spell. It's definitely an S-level forbidden technique. Chakra can't penetrate it at all, and Lu Han can't do it either. If he does it forcibly, the dice clock will blow up. I am lucky today. Ali doesn't know how many times he's said this. Maybe he also feels strange. Why is he so lucky today? After making another village, Ali shakes out 666 leopards and kills them again. After putting the chips together, he looked up at the window, dropped the dice clock, stretched his waist and said, "It's getting late, let's stop here today, and continue tomorrow." What do you mean, boy? If you win, you want to run, don't you? You said you won't play if you don't play. Several gamblers who lost Yuhi's eyes all stood up at once, glaring at Ali. In addition to a few businessmen, there was also a middle-aged ninja. Yuhi name. Jonan. Chapter 0902 Let's say goodbye. Casinos are so messy, even in such a high-end box, gamblers who lose Yuhi's eyes can really do anything. Those big businessmen with bright appearances, once they indulge in gambling, are likely to go bankrupt. Now, what has he to fear? Lu Han sat there cross-legged and didn't move, squinting at these guys who lost Yuhi's eyes, full of bad intentions. If anyone dares to move Ali's finger, Yihai village is likely to be wiped out. Although Ali was young, he looked like he had seen strong winds and waves. Facing a few menacing adults, one of them even showed the breath of a ninja. He stood up slowly, and then glanced at Irobi. On the surface, Irobi is a dealer and a staff member who is responsible for the commission, but he actually came here to watch the game. Boom _ Irobi, who was sitting cross-legged, raised a terrifying aura, and the airflow around him was maddening, and even the protective curse marks on the walls around the box were stimulated to emerge. Elite Jonan. Although he is an orange name in Lu Han's eyes, Lu Han can judge his approximate strength through his breath. An elite physique from Kumogakure village. I actually came to watch the show for a small box in a casino. In fact, there is nothing wrong, because the casino is too profitable, and today is a special situation, so Irobi has only drawn more than 1 million yuan. Even if it is usually less, why should it be 100,000 or 200,000? 1 or 200,000 a day, how about a month? What about a year? This box may bring tens of millions of taels of income to Kumogakure village a year, and the ninja performs an S-level war mission. The commission is only 1 million taels, and a task takes at least 10 days and a half months, which is not stable. Therefore, it is not too much to let the elite Jonan come here to see the scene. Even if the super elite come here, it is normal. Don't make trouble, Irobi said this after revealing her breath. The gamblers who looked at Yuhi suddenly shriveled, and were even a little frightened. Ali pointed to the pile of chips and said to Irobi, "I'll go straight to get the money." 21,360,000 taels, go and get it from below. Irobi reported the exact number. Obviously he had been staring at the pile of chips in front of Ali. Ali walked out, but the other unwilling gamblers didn't leave. They didn't have much money, but they could still play. Luhan also got up and walked out with Ali. Irobi flashed and disappeared in the box, and within a dozen seconds, he flashed back and appeared again, and turned into a smiling look, watching the guests gamble. Near the gate of Hayazi gambling house, Xiao Ali jumped up and sat on the counter sideways, took a stack of money tickets respectfully handed out from the counter, then jumped down and walked out the gate. Alone, carrying a huge amount of money, really not afraid of being robbed. Luhan has been following Ali, and when he walks out the door, he quickly walks 2 steps to his side, with a very familiar tone. Where do you live? Here. Ali pointed to the ancient restaurant next to him. The restaurant is 9 stories high, and the building is magnificent. Good place. Luhan looked at the restaurant and followed Ali all the way into the restaurant. Ali went straight upstairs. He has a room upstairs, and Luhan locked his breath to determine where he went. Floor, only then went to the counter to open the room. It was on the 7th floor, and the price of the rooms was terribly expensive. 3,000 taels stayed a night, but there were still vacant rooms. The room Luhan wanted was just next to Ali's room. A waiter brought Luhan upstairs into the room to check the situation, and asked Luhan if he wanted dinner service. Luhan refused and let him leave. There are dice and other gambling equipment, and it really is a business with the casino. Luhan was still locking in Ali's breath, standing by the window of the room, looking at the lively night market outside. With Luhan's ear, he could vaguely hear the sound of running water in the room next door. Ali should be taking a shower. Luhan waited for about half an hour and felt that Ali was about to go out. Out. In the hallway. Ali, who had changed into a refreshing kimono with the sword of astonishment hanging behind his back, just went out, and a figure with a hat came out from the next room. Hey, what a coincidence. Ali smiled, a strange look flashed in his eyes. Yeah, what a coincidence. Luhan said, habitually pressing the edge of the bucket hat. Why are you following me? Ali asked. Luhan was a little embarrassed, found out. Shit, so obviously it will be discovered. It just happened, it means we have a fate. Luhan said nonsense. Oh, Ali responded calmly, and then walked towards the stairs. Luhan quickly took 2 steps to catch up with Ali, and started to get close again. Luhan's acting skills should have been superb, but for some reason, in front of his son, he always showed flaws, maybe because of nervousness. Have you eaten yet? No, I'm going to eat. Together. Okay. 20 minutes later, on the 3rd floor of the restaurant, in the high-end dining hall, because the consumption here is much more expensive than the 1st floor, there are relatively few guests and it is half full. The people who eat here are either rich or expensive. In the semi-open compartment in the corner, Luhan and Ali were sitting opposite each other. They were both eating noodles, and they ordered the same type of noodles in a heartbeat. They were both big bowls and there were some side dishes on the table. A person like you is very dangerous. Does your family ignore you? She has something to do. It's so irresponsible. It's all right. The two chatted casually. There are 2 people, one big and one small, and the atmosphere is harmonious. Luhan is very worried. Is this son stupid? Why don't you have the slightest bit of vigilance as a ninja? Your family, I heard from the casino people, it's a young woman, is that your sister? Where did she go? Luhan asked in a very casual tone. Ali glanced at Luhan and said, I can tell you, but you have to promise me one thing first. What? Let's swoop. PFF'd. Cough. Cough cough cough. Luhan sprayed the whole face back into the bowl, and then began to cough violently. Chapter 0903 God's Stick Potential. Luhan was coughing, while Ali looked at Luhan with interest, not knowing what he was thinking. Cough. Cough. Sworn. Are you stupid? We just met, cough. Luhan asked intermittently. He finally stopped coughing. It was so fucking scary. The son wants to swoop in with the father. My family said that I have a heart that can distinguish between good and evil, and I can feel people's kindness and malice, closeness and distance. How do you say it? Oh yes. Seek good luck and avoid evil. Yes, that's it. I can seek good luck and avoid evil. Ali said. Talent. Luhan wiped his mouth, removed the sprayed noodle bowl, and muttered. It's pretty accurate. Ali smiled again. So, do you think you are a good person? Ali blinked. I can feel that you are not only friendly to me, but even very close. Maybe, it is really fate. Otherwise, why do you think I should sit and eat with you? Face. But it's not to the point of directly sworn in, right? Luhan said with a twitch at the corner of his mouth. Isn't it okay? Ali asked back, and added, Mother. Family members often tell me that she said that people's fate is predestined by heaven, and that some people, no matter how big the gap in identities, no matter how big the age gap is, how old, even if one person who was once considered humble can be bullied, the other stands on the top of the mountain, overlooking the prosperity of the world. They can be together, even if the relationship between the two is not in the world, even if the relationship between master and apprentice is the relationship between the elder and the younger may also become a lover. This is fate, this is fate. Oh, of course, since we are all men, we can't fall in love, so let's swoop. Luhan suddenly fell silent, bowing his head slightly, wondering what he was thinking. Xiao Ali didn't know what happened to Luhan, so he snorted and ate half a bowl of noodles before asking, Do you swoop in? Luhan looked up at him. The dog's mood filled his mind. Bless your sister. No way, we just met, you don't know me, and I don't know you either. Luhan sighed, so sad. You have to believe that fate, if you miss it, you will miss it. Fate will make fun of people. In a lifetime, you can meet tens of millions of people, but very few can talk. The people who are truly destined are just a handful. It can be counted, from strangers, to acquaintances, Everything is an opportunity given by fate, and it may be the only opportunity, really, if you miss it, you miss it. Ali has the potential to be a magician. What fate, come when you open your mouth. Luhan is very worried, what can be done in the future? He was not worried about Ali, but worried about the so-and-so girl, the so-and-so girl, and the so-and-so girl. This Ali, how many little girls will be deceived in the future? When I grew up, you were the first, the only one. The stranger who made me feel close, this is fate. My family said that I have a heart that can distinguish between good and evil, so I should believe in fate, Luhan raised his hand to cover his forehead, headache. Let's swoop. No, I refuse. Why? You don't suffer from sworn swastika, you are 18 years old, right? I can't see your face completely, but you look very young, and I am younger than you. Sworn, you are the eldest brother, I am the younger brother, no okay. To repeat, I refuse. Don't you want to know me? Don't you want to know the situation in my family? Make a sworn bond, and I will tell you when you swoop in. Luhan had already seriously suspected that the child was mentally ill. Sorrow. Brother, how is it? No, shut up. You are not afraid of losing your life. Stop. Luhan was a little frightened, and his voice was much higher. Oh, Ali suddenly became calm, his eyes blinked cunningly, then returned to clear, and turned into a cute and harmless appearance. Luhan keenly caught the change in Ali's eyes. His heart froze for a moment, and then his heart began to beat suddenly. This kid. You're not kidding, are you? Is he telling the truth? Lie, or are you just talking shit? He still has the orange name, and Luhan can't feel his malice, so he can't judge at all what is on his mind. Are you a samurai? Xiao Ali asked suddenly. That's right, Luhan replied. The two started chatting again. Luhan didn't ask him about Tsunade, and he didn't talk about sworn. Lu Han seemed a little absent-minded. He was thinking about all the things he'd said since meeting with Ali, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt in his heart. Surprised, because he didn't get any effective information from Ali's mouth. Lu Han once inherited the ability of Jiao Hai, not only the climax performance skills, but also the strong camouflage detection ability. The cliché is the most complicated language skills. Lu Han is an expert, a master. But now, he has never. Ali's mouth couldn't escape a useful word. It's all bullshit. Lu Han doesn't even know how many people in Ali's family. Because the previous bowl of noodles was sprayed by Lu Han didn't eat it, and ordered another bowl, but it hadn't been delivered yet. While Ali was eating, Lu Han watched. When will your family pick you up? Lu Han asked casually. It's possible at any time. Ali said another nonsense, as if he didn't answer. When the noodles were delivered, the waiter with the tray put the noodles in front of Lu Han, took a fruit platter from the tray, and said respectfully, "To distinguished guests, your consumption has reached a fixed amount. This is a delivery yours, please use it slowly." "Thank you." Lu Han nodded to the waiter. The waiter left with the tray. Lu Han had just picked up the noodles with his chopsticks, when Ali, who was opposite him, suddenly made a lightning strike and grabbed Lu Han's chopsticks with his own chopsticks. Lu Han was very relieved. Okay, this skill must be an elite chunin, right? It seems that although Tsunade distorted Ali's ability tree, he still hasn't forgotten to train him into a ninja. What's wrong? Lu Han asked in confusion. The face is poisonous, Ali whispered, slowly retracting his chopsticks, then glanced at the fruit platter, and said, "The fruit you gave away is also poisonous." Lu Han was shocked. How did you find out? Lu Han didn't notice anything unusual, which was because he wasn't afraid of poisoning himself, so he didn't care. Chapter 0904_Time to Kill. Although Ali is only 9 years old, in terms of wisdom, thinking, language, demeanor, and vigilance, he is not inferior to a seasoned ninja who performs tasks outside all year round and has experienced many battles. The most amazing thing is that he can find out that the food is poisonous from the air. How can he know? The noodles are poisonous, and the fruit is poisonous. The noodles are for Lu Han, and the fruit is eaten by 2 people. In other words, the target is Lu Han and Ali. Lu Han immediately opened the insight map. Among the countless orange names, the Yuhi name really appeared. And this Yuhi name is in the restaurant on the 3rd floor, a ninja from Kumogakure village. Kumogakure in the country of Vortex Special Operations Force 30 White Silver Boss, Naros. Lu Han didn't look back, and he couldn't see it, because the 3 volumes in the compartment were all wooden fences and were very high. After Ali finished talking about the poisonous thing, he looked calm again and continued to eat, but he just didn't touch the plate of fruit, as if nothing had happened. It seems that he often encounters this kind of thing. Yes, that's it. Otherwise, it is impossible to get used to it. Lu Han couldn't be as calm as Ali, damn it. Snoring. Ali's eyes suddenly widened, and he looked at Lu Han with a startled look. His eyes seemed like he was going to hell. Because Lu Han was eating a bowl of poisonous noodles, he ate it in big mouthfuls, and soon he ate half of the bowl. Then, under Ali's shocked gaze, Lu Han picked up the cut watermelon in the fruit platter and quickly ate a slice. Why can't you think about it? Ali said, don't think about it. If there is something unpleasant, let me, feel the same way. Lu Han has already started to bleed, but the blood loss is not as fast as recovery, so he doesn't even need to use the small blue bottle, just wait for the medicine to wear off. It's a chronic poison, Lu Han said, smacking his lips. The composition is very complicated. The poison will first enter the blood circulation and incubate for 7 hours. After 7 hours, the effect of the drug will explode and affect the heart. It will start to cause symptoms such as rapid heartbeat and palpitation. Then there will be arrhythmia, heart failure, shock, until death. Quote. It's a very good assassination poison that leaves no traces. After the murder, The autopsy results will be tested as a sudden death from a heart attack. Do you understand poison? Xiao Ali blinked. Lu Han nodded. Oh, that's good. Xiao Ali was relieved. It seemed that the guy in front of him didn't have a hard time thinking about it, but he knew about poison, so he would naturally detoxify it. You don't seem to care about this kind of thing, Lu Han asked. What's there to care about? Ali pouted. Don't want to know who did it. I don't want to. Why? They encountered it too many times, so naturally I don't want to. It doesn't matter. So sad. How many times has this child been assassinated to become so open-minded? This time, it's just those gamblers who lost money. Xiao Ali said again, shrugging his shoulders. It's just a little trick. The security in Yihai village is very good, so they can only come in secret, hee. Gambler. However, Lu Han felt that something was wrong. Ali guessed the most normal result and the most likely result, but Lu Han knew that the person who poisoned it was a ninja from Kumogakure village. And also a Jonin. The restaurant itself is innocent, because Lu Han didn't find other Yuhi names here, and it was too easy for Jonin to poison quietly. After dinner, Lu Han and Ali went upstairs together. Just after the two entered the stairs, the tall and thin middle-aged man sitting in the booth in the other corner got up. This man was Naros. He seemed to walk through the hall casually, just in the gap between Lu Han and Ali's meal. Passing by, glanced inside, and saw that the last bowl of noodles and fruit platter had been eaten. A subtle smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he quickly left the restaurant and went downstairs. Lu Han and Ali returned to the 7th floor together. The two rooms were next to each other. Lu Han had already planned to say goodbye to Ali. He had to deal with the Yuhi name, but Ali took the initiative to invite Lu Han to his room. Sit inside. Aren't you afraid that I'm a bad guy? Lu Han asked. He started to worry again. Why is this son so hearty? Aren't you afraid that I'm a bad guy? Ali asked Lu Han with these words, and winked at Lu Han. Lu Han was stunned for a moment, then laughed. Accompanying the son is naturally more important than killing the enemy. Lu Han followed Ali into his room, which was also a suite. It was very clean. Lu Han followed and watched casually. Tsunade should have lived here before. Playing dice. Ali sat on the sofa, picked up the dice clock on the coffee table, shook it to Lu Han, and added, playing with money. Lu Han understood. The corners of his mouth twitched. This kid. It turned out to be a gambling addict. Come on. Lu Han sat opposite Ali and took it out in his arms, looking a little embarrassed. I don't have much cash, can I use gems instead? Of course. Ali smiled. Lu Han took out a handful of gems to bet with Ali, and Ali's face flashed a strange color. He probably didn't expect Lu Han to be so rich. The two played until midnight, and Lu Han lost all. Those gems were worth about 3 million taels. I'm so sleepy, it's time to sleep. Ali said. See you tomorrow. Lu Han stood up decisively. After going out, Lu Han went back to his room. With a wave of his hand, the faceless man appeared beside Lu Han. Lu Han whispered, the kid in the next room, protect him. Yes. Faceless took the lead. Lu Han dodged and disappeared. In Yihai village at night, most of them are dark, but some streets are still brightly lit. It seems to be a city that never sleeps. I have to admit that Kumogakure village manages this place very well. The most important street, the fire lit from the south to the north, running through the entire village. Lu Han put on a black robe mask and started searching in Yihai village. The area of Yihai village is bigger than that of Konoha village. Because there are many buildings in Konoha village, people live in a denser place, while there are few buildings in Yihai village, and many places are market operation areas, and there are no people at night, which leads to the area of Yihai village, which is several times that of Konoha village. Lu Han is looking for Naros. It doesn't matter why he poisoned Ali, what matters is that if Lu Han wants to kill him, he must die. Chapter 0905_Why Poison. Lu Han's insight map can't cover the entire Yihai village, but the coverage area of the insight map is too large, so he only needs to move the range a little to scout the entire Yihai village. Luhan was so sure that Tsunade was not in Yihai village at the beginning. Since there is no green name in Yihai village, this means that Tsunade is not within the scope of the insight scope. After leaving the Guweju building, Luhan walked a few hundred meters north, and the name Yuhi appeared on the northern edge of the insight map. More than one. The big Yuhi name is still that, Naros, and there are other Yuhi names beside him, a total of 7 people, gathered together, and some orange names are also in the same position as them. Luhan didn't care so much and approached quickly. The location of Naros is in the northernmost part of Yihai village. There are many towers there. It is the residence of Akiyuki, the ruler of Yihai village. The ninjas of Kumogakure village, who were sent here to do business, also live there. After a few minutes, a 7-story round Jinchuriki column-shaped tower with a top floor, hot and bright. This is a training ground. Even at night, there are still people training here. There are more than a dozen people in the huge venue. Rose and the other 7 people gathered loosely in the rest area next to the venue, exchanged glances with each other, and whispered, like, "What are you waiting for?" People on the field exchanged, and they did not use chakra, but only used physical strength to learn physical and melee skills. Naros suddenly turned his head and glanced at the moonlight outside the window, and whispered to the people around him, "There are still 3 hours." Squeak. The door of the training ground was suddenly pushed open, and a young and strong figure walked into the hall. The ninjas who were training suddenly stopped, and Rose and the others also stood up and greeted them respectfully, "Lord Killer Bee." It's Killer Bee. Killer Bee, nor to say that he is Killer Bee Jinchuriki, column power, but to say that he is the sworn brother of the 4th generation of Hokage. This is enough for most Kumogakure ninjas to salute him. "You guys continue, I'll just take a look." Killer Bee laughed. The training ground is back to normal again, the sparring, the small talk. Killer Bee seemed to have come to inspect, stopped and walked, looked where he was, and then walked to the rest area. The few people gathered in the rest area hurriedly got up again, and Ross's eyes flashed with deep fear, and he concealed it well, squeezed out a smile and said, "Sir Killer Bee, it's so late, and I'm still not resting. Can't sleep. Yihai village is really boring. Why don't you have a rap contest here?" Killer Bee sighed. The corner of Ross's mouth twitched, not knowing how to answer. Killer Bee loves rap and likes all kinds of interactive games, as the Kumogakure village ninjas know. However, Yihai village is used to make money. Rap and the like cannot make money. There are too few people who like it, so naturally there will be no so-called rap competition. "You said, if there is a concert here, will anyone watch it?" Killer Bee asked. I'm afraid, that Ross looked very difficult to say. "Oh, needless to say, I understand." Killer Bee sighed again, putting on a vicissitudes of life that, "No one in this world understands me." After chatting a few more times, Killer Bee walked to the edge of the practice field, watching the people inside, and sometimes cheering with others. Naros leaned against the sofa and glanced at the people around him, all showing understanding eyes. A black figure quietly appeared behind the sofa, and no one noticed, because the figure was breathless and made no sound, and he appeared in a very clever position, behind everyone, because they were all there. Looking at the situation on the field, naturally no one saw the people behind. When Luhan saw Killer Bee, he immediately looked away, ignoring it. He clearly distinguishes, those Yuhi names related to the poisoning are bound to die, and Luhan is too lazy to go to the high assassination. "Why do you want to poison?" Luhan suddenly leaned over and whispered in Ross's ear. The hair on Ross's whole body exploded, and without even knowing his head, he jumped up with a whimper, and his whole body burst into breath. Knife light up. In an instant, Ross's legs were cut off, and Ross's scream was extremely shrill. Everyone in the venue was shocked. Killer Bee turned around quickly and saw a scene that made him tear his eyes. "I saw that the men in black who appeared at some point turned into afterimages, and they were slaughtering the Kumogakure ninja like a storm." Damn! Killer Bee shouted angrily. His whole body burst with breath, his hands were as fast as lightning, both knives came out, and he quickly approached Lu Han. Lu Han killed 6 people in a row. Among the 7 Yuhi names before, except for Naros. There are 2 Jonin, 3 elite Chunin, and 1 Chunin. Killer Bee rushed forward with an aura like Yamashita. Among the Kumogakur ninjas, he is the strongest and the fastest. At this point he has become the Yuhi name. Lu Han saw his strength level. He had already reached the 50th super elite level. With such strength at the age of 19, he was naturally a genius. Killer Bee's strength is enhanced by his Jinchuriki column strength as a human being, and he doesn't know how far other people's Jinchuriki column strength ability has been cultivated. Killer Bee is good at swordsmanship, and when he rushes to Lu Han, he is naturally a sword, with 2 swords like a dragon. Lu Han smashed it with a knife. Boom _. The terrifying half-moon knife light not only blocked Killer Bee's double knives, but also blasted him directly out. Killer Bee flew upside down like a cannonball, flew over the entire field, smashed through the wall at the other end of the field, and flew out of the building. Still bleeding. Lu Han didn't kill him. Well, it's on Xiao Ai's face. Everything happened too fast, and the others had just reacted. After Lu Han repelled Killer Bee, he directly lifted up Naros, who had both broken legs, turned into a glimpse and broke out of the window, and quickly disappeared without a trace. Leaving the mouth alive, Lu Han naturally wanted to ask why he was poisoned. Ali doesn't care, but Lu Han does, because Kumogakur is different from ordinary thieves. This is one of the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world, and it is famous for being warlike. The ghost knows if there is any conspiracy behind this, and it may even be against Tsunade. Chapter 0906 for money. This night, Yihai village was in chaos. The chaos first started at the residence of Chueji in the north of the village, and then spread to the entire Yihai village. Kumogakur village has 2 battalions of nearly 400 ninjas stationed here, and employs nearly 1,000 mortal warriors, and Chueji is also amassed a mortal army of nearly 2,000 men. It's all moving. Blockade. Search. The enormity of this is simply appalling. The mysterious ninja beheaded several Kumogakur elite ninjas in public. This is secondary, the main thing is that Killer Bee was injured. As the 4th generation of Raikage's sworn brother, Killer Bee Jinchuriki column force of Kumogakur village, Killer Bee in the country of the vortex was injured. This matter must be reported layer by layer. The information will eventually be sent to Raikage. It is conceivable that Raikage will how outraged. Kumogakur village troops stationed in Ihai village are incompetent. If the murderer is allowed to run like this, even without knowing who the murderer is, then the Kumogakur village will inevitably usher in a major purge, and those incompetent will have a miserable end. Antique restaurant. The brigade of samurai quickly arrived here, blocked it, and then the Kumogakur ninja came forward and began to search, but they did not dare to be too public, and dared not say that everyone squatted on the ground and searched one by one. In that case, things will be even more troubled, and the business of Yihai village will be over. Yihai village is very profitable, but the expenses are also huge. Just hiring those mortal warriors every year will add up to sky-high commissions, but Yihai village can still bring hundreds of millions of taels of pure income to Kumogakur village every year. Business is naturally more important than the lives of those ninjas. 7th floor. The Kumogakur ninja was in a hurry, holding the check-in list in his hand. He went in to check any unoccupied room. If someone lived, he knocked on the door to see if the person inside was there. Xiao Ali's door was also knocked, and a childish response sounded from inside, "Sleep, don't make any noise." "It's a child, it's registered, it can't be him." The 2 ninjas whispered a few words, then walked to the adjacent guest room and knocked on the door. "Anything," the wise faceless man replied in the room. "Here is a samurai, very young." The 2 ninjas whispered again, and then one of them said, "It's okay. Some gangsters sneaked into the village, we are searching." A preliminary search. It's impossible for the Kumogakur ninja to cross-examine everyone face to face. Now they're knocking on the door to make sure who isn't there. Whoever is not there will be suspect. Moreover, in the short term, no one here can leave Yihai village. If no one is found, there will definitely be a second investigation. Somewhere in Yihai village, in the closed market and the empty trading workshop, the smell of fish is very strong, and the smell of blood is mixed in it, which is extremely irritating. Naros, who had a broken leg, was already half dead, lying on the ground with blood on the ground. Luhan squatted in front of Ross and stared into his eyes. The eternal Mangekyo was spinning rapidly, then Ross's eyes gradually became confused. He was about to die, the wound was too big, and he would bleed to death, and his consciousness was very weak. Why did you poison that 9-year-old boy? Luhan asked. Money. He has 20 million taels on him. Naros said blankly. Luhan frowned. Kumogakure dared to kill gamblers to steal money. It's too dark. Who made you do this? Luhan asked again. Polo, sir. Have you done this kind of thing before? Yes. Did. Just for the money. Yes. Ross's voice stopped abruptly, his vitality was cut off, and he was dead. Bleeding to death, a normal person had his legs chopped off. He would go into shock within half a minute of bleeding, but this guy persisted for a few minutes, naturally because he was a ninja with strong vitality. Luhan heaved a sigh of relief, and asked all the questions that should have been asked, and the results satisfied him. Just for the money, it doesn't matter. Just like what Xiao Ali thought at the time, there was something wrong. The money was not for the gamblers who lost Yuhi's eyes, but for the official Kumogakure. Xiao Ai, how on earth do you manage the village? Tisk. Luhan shook his head and sighed, getting up and disappearing. He didn't care about the body, and it was nothing to be found. The Yihai village in the dark is already brightly lit. The village has been completely blocked. Ninjas, samurai, and a large number of mortal army soldiers are searching. The village is too big, so the blockade is not strict. With Luhan's strength, he can come and go freely. The insight map shows that the number of Yuhi names in the village has exceeded 3,000, and the big Yuhi name is the 8 people Jinchuriki column force killer B. This caused some trouble for Luhan, because he could no longer judge where Lord Polo was. Those were the accomplices of Lord Polo, and those who were not, didn't know. The previous Yuhi name was malicious and poisonous. The current Yuhi name is malicious because Luhan killed people, so all the Kumogakure ninjas in Yihai village became Yuhi's name. Luhan directly used Hiraishin's technique to return to the room of the Guweju restaurant, put away the faceless man, changed his clothes, and fell asleep. In the southwest of the country of Vortex, under the same night, the southwest mountain range. There was a scorched earth in the forest, the fire was soaring into the sky, and there were nearly 100 corpses. There are still hundreds of gray-robed figures running back and forth on the battlefield, forming formations and being careful. The leading ninjas are all wounded, but their breath is extremely terrifying. I am afraid that they are at least excellent existences among the elite Jonin. They are all super elites who have entered the 50-level class. The masked man at the head was even a cage-level existence who had entered the 60th level hierarchy, but he was also the most seriously injured, and half of his body was dripping with blood. On the other side of the battlefield, the yin seal has been opened on the young woman's forehead, and she is half holding another young woman with white eyes in her arms. The latter is covered in blood, but her face is pale and bloodless. Was in a semi-conscious state. Tell me the location of the treasure, and I'll give you the antidote. You don't want her to die, right? The seriously injured masked man said gloomily. He looked very badly injured, but there was a smile in his voice. Do you think I'll believe you? The young woman's body was shaking, and she forced a sneer. Sister, put me down. It's okay. You go. The injured woman said weakly intermittently. Chapter-907 Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning _ Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning that Luhan was looking for. It looks like Tsunade is less than 20 years old, and Hyuga Luoning is in her early 20s. In fact, Tsunade is 37 years old, but she has the ability to stay young forever, so she looks very young, and Hyuga Luoning is also 30 years old this year, but because of good maintenance, she looks much younger. Tsunade's body trembled more and more violently, sweating like rain, but still holding on. He half-hugged Hyuga Luoning, and slowly stepped back. Sister, think of Ali, he can't live without you. Hyuga Luoning said again, even trying to push Tsunade away. If it wasn't for her drag, Tsunade would definitely be able to escape alone. Stop talking nonsense. Tsunade grabbed Hyuga Luoning's arm and glanced at the more than 100 ninjas who were staring at him. Even though his body was trembling, his steps were firm. Tisk tisk. It's really a sisterhood. The masked man made a teasing voice. Hermophobia. Tisk. It's a strange disease. In this case, you can force yourself to be like this with us. I have to say admiration to you. Lord Tsunade, you are indeed one of the legendary Sannin. In fact, Tsunade's real strength, against this group of people, is definitely a crushing existence. The strongest masked man may only be stronger than Tsunade 15 years ago. Against the current Tsunade, he is not an opponent at all, and those more than 200 trash fish. Yes, it can only be described by the word trash fish, and it cannot pose any threat to Tsunade at all. However, the fear of blood, but Tsunade's strength has been greatly retreated. Since her husband Han Guang died, she has suffered from this disease, and she even fainted because of seeing blood. Today, she was really holding on because of Hyuga Luoning. Treasure, 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 treasure left by the cold light. The masked man suddenly raised his voice and spoke extremely fast. Tsunade, this is your last chance. Otherwise, don't blame my subordinates for being ruthless. Ha, ha, Tsunade sneered twice. Treasure. Her master's money is indeed a treasure. That money is even enough to keep a big ninja village going for a few years of war. But Tsunade is clear, can't give. It's not that she is reluctant, but because she understands that giving money by herself is the only way to kill herself. This group of looters with unknown origins cannot be merciful and cannot keep their promises. The logic goes like this. Tsunade is not alone. Behind her is the largest ninja village in the ninja world, Konoha Village. Although she has no contact with Konoha Village, the outside world still thinks she is a Konoha ninja. If she wants to steal Tsunade's money, if she doesn't cut the grass and root, it will really cause disaster. In fact, it's not wrong to think so. Tsunade just broke up with Sarutobi Hiruzen, but she still has a lot of friends and relatives in Konoha. Jiraiya and Orochimaru are her best friends, and Captain Konoha Anbu wants to call her a teacher. If something happened to her, Konoha might retaliate, not even Sarutobi Hiruzen. Even more frightening is that Reikage, the fourth generation of Kumogakure village in the country of thunder today, also call her a teacher. There are even more terrifying. That is her late husband, the ninja known as Konoha Hangguang, who was once revered as a god of killing. Although he has been dead for 10 years, he still has a huge influence in the ninja world. Hangguang Jifa's wife was killed, really spreads in the ninja world. I don't know how many people will jump out to avenge him. Therefore, everyone who wants to rob treasures understands that to rob money, we must cut down the roots. Otherwise, if the news is leaked, the money will not be spent even if you have your life. Over the years, because of the money, Tsunade has been robbed many times. She has long thought clearly that unless the money is defeated and captured alive, the money cannot be given. If you give it directly, you will die. If you don't give it, the other party will be for money. Even if caught, there is still a chance. Tsunade is tough. She didn't turn to Konoha for help, even after so many disasters. At the same time, she is also very guilty, because if she hadn't started gambling again, spending money lavishly, there would be no rumors about the cold light treasure in the ninja world. The atmosphere has been suppressed to ultimate. Tsunade stepped back, with Hyuga Luoning trying not to look at the blood. Since this is the case, Master Tsunade, I can only apologize. The masked man shook his head helplessly, then his eyes slammed, and he shouted, do it. Boom underscore. All the ninjas moved. Tsunade dropped the smoke grenade, turned and flew. With Hyuga Luo Ning, her speed is slower and her flexibility is greatly reduced. This is the reason why she has killed more than 100 people and still hasn't escaped, but she can't give up Hyuga Luo Ning. Yihai Village, early morning. The tense atmosphere has not yet dissipated. Yihai Village is still under blockade, and the search has been temporarily stopped and turned to surveillance. Each market is open as normal, and there are no restrictions on people doing business. Casinos are also open as usual. However, at this time, Yihai Village is not allowed to enter and exit, and almost all tall buildings have many ninjas standing on them to monitor pedestrians. Luhan woke up early, full of energy, and slept a bit more. He didn't carry out the plan to resurrect White Fang last night because it was not very convenient here. In the corridor, Luhan and Xiao Ali happened to meet again. Xiao Ali smiled sweetly and looked like a good baby. Looking at his eyes, how he looked at Luhan, he was pleasing to the eye. It was probably related to the fact that he won a lot of gems from Luhan yesterday. The two went to the restaurant on the third floor to eat again, still eating noodles, chatting in a low voice while eating. It seems like something went wrong yesterday, and the village is under martial law. Luhan said casually. Yeah, it's annoying to disturb my sleep. Xiao Ali wrinkled his nose. Luhan took a bite and asked again, don't you want to know what happened? I don't want to. Ali showed indifference. This kid is really different. Unlike a child is very curious, but he is not, and he does not know if it is because he has experienced too many things. Xiao Ali finished eating a large bowl of noodles with a snort, raised his head to drink the soup, put down the bowl, and whispered to Luhan, I'm leaving. Huh. Luhan was stunned, his eyes flashing. Chapter 0908 _ The Disappearing Alley. Ali left suddenly, most likely to find Tsunade, and Luhan's heart burst into flames. There's trouble here, I don't know how big it is, it's definitely not safe. Xiao Ali whispered again, winking at Luhan, so I'm leaving, do you want to leave? Can you go out? Luhan looked very hesitant. This place is blocked, the main entrances and exits of the village are guarded, and the other places that can go out of the village are mostly open areas, as well as ninja patrols, guard towers. Quote. Don't worry about me, if I want to go out, I can go out naturally, mainly because of you. Xiao Ali said with a smile, would you like to go together? Can you go out? I can't take you with me. Luhan hesitated. The little guy is very confident, but it just feels weird, isn't it? Too enthusiastic. If he wasn't only 9 years old, if he wasn't his own son, Luhan would really doubt whether this guy was going to rob him. Don't be nervous, I won't hurt you. Xiao Ali seemed to see through Luhan's thoughts and comforted him. Luhan thought it was funny, and he didn't know what the hell he was up to. He lowered his voice and said solemnly, well, let's leave together, how are you going? If we can't be together, I'll wait for you outside the village. Ali smiled, stood up immediately, and pointed to the table, can you settle the bill? Luhan nodded. Thank you, Xiao Ali said, and then walked upstairs first. After Luhan settled the bill, he followed him upstairs. On the 7th floor, the door of the guest room was half open. Luhan was leaning against the door to wait for Ali. Ali was packing in the room, but Luhan had nothing to pack because he was used to putting all his daily necessities in his space backpack. Originally, Luhan planned to find the ninja named Kobo, and further investigate the poisoning, which was related to his son and Kumogakure village. Luhan still wanted to fully understand the situation. But the son is leaving, and probably to find Tsunade. Luhan naturally wanted to put this matter aside. By the way, Lee, do you know that there is a ninja named Polo in Yihai village? Luhan suddenly asked. In fact, he really wanted to complain. Polo, pineapple, what a bad name. The names of the Kumogakure ninjas in the Country of Thunder are very strange, and the Country of Fire is not a painting style at all. Polo. In the room, Ali, who was packing his luggage, raised his head and glanced at Lu Han. You know, Lord Polo. You know. Lu Han was surprised. Li knew him. Yeah. Ali responded, you only came to Yihai village yesterday. You may not have heard of it. I have lived here for a few days. Most of the people in Yihai village know that Mr. Polo is the ninja of Kumogakure village, is said to be the leader of the group of Kumogakure village ninjas in Yihai village, and they are old friends with Akazuki, so they have a good relationship. Quote. Is that so? Lu Han replied, but his face was a little wrong. Ali turned out to be the order of the commander of the Kumogakure Special Operations Force stationed in the land of Vortex. I'm fine. Ali appeared at the door with a small burden on his back. Well, do you want to go now? Lu Han turned his attention back to Ali, and swept Ali up and down with great interest. Ali's outfit looked like a little warrior. Jinghong the blade was still hanging on Ali's waist. In fact, he was very curious about how Ali would leave Yihai village. Is it by speed? Or an extraordinary stealth skill? Or is it some kind of hidden secret technique of the master? I want to go by myself. I will wait for you at the Yuhi fir tree in the south of the village. Xiao Ali smiled. I will only wait for you for a long time. If you can't come out in a long time, then I will leave. Well, good. Lu Han nodded with a smile, the corners of his lips curled up under the shadow of the bucket hat. Then, how do you go? Xiao Ali rolled his eyes, suddenly pushed back a step, and said strangely, I'll make a magic trick for you. Please. Lu Han nodded. Ali closed the door directly. He was in the room, Lu Han was at the door of the corridor outside the room, and there was a wooden door between them. Lu Han quickly locked on Ali's breath, but wanted to see what tricks he played. I guess it just disappeared without a trace. It may be to walk through the window, leaving no trace. Let's go, Xiao Ali shouted from the door. Okay, Lu Han responded with a smile. I is gone. Lu Han suddenly changed color. Lose the lock. Ali just disappeared. Not just disappearing into the room, not just disappearing into Guweju, but completely disappearing within Lu Han's aura perception range. Lu Han pushed open the door. The room was really empty and no one was seen. Ali didn't lose his breath, but the person really left. Lu Han slowly blinked his eyes twice, not knowing if he should laugh out loud. Before Ali disappeared, although he tried his best to hide his aura, Lu Han still sensed it. Ali left with a trace of chakra fluctuations. Lu Han was very familiar with these chakra fluctuations, very, very familiar. Horaishin, Lu Han murmured. The art of Horaishin. Ali used the technique of Horaishin to escape directly. Lu Han really wanted to laugh out loud. Because, Ali is a genius, a super genius. He is only 9 years old this year. Not only master the art of Horaishin. It can even be used purely, otherwise it is impossible to have only such a weak chakra fluctuation. Horaishin's technique is one of Konoha's top secret forbidden techniques. A large part of the reason it is banned is because this technique is too difficult to practice, requires too much talent, and is too difficult to comprehend the attributes of time and space. How talented is Tsunade? How is Orochimaru talented? They didn't practice Horaishin. Why didn't Sarutobi Hiruzen let them practice? Too hard is the main factor. In the original book, after Senju Tobarama created Horaishin, there was no second ninja master Horaishin for decades, until Namikaze Minato, a peerless splendor, was born. And even Namikaze Minato, he couldn't become Horaishin when he was 9 years old. At that time, he was still in ninja school, his talent was not developed, and he was not qualified to connect with Horaishin. My son, tisk tisk, he's my son. Lu Han muttered a few words with a mentally laugh, and then disappeared. Chapter 0909_Strange Symbols. In the north of Yihai village, among the towering towers, Chueiji's mansion. A tall and strong figure with a beard in his late 40s walked back and forth at the door of the wooden building, looking very anxious, his brows furrowed, and he looked uneasy. In the main building just across the door, there is a medical ninja healing someone. The person being treated is Killer B, who was severely injured and vomited blood by Luhan last night. Although Killer B's injury is only a simple internal injury, it is a physical injury, and it is not difficult to heal, but Killer B is a tailed beast. Killer B was seriously injured and weakened last night. The suppression of his own chakra on the Eight Tails weakened, and the Eight Tails began to run wild to impact the seal. This is also the reason why Killer B's injury has not been healed. Although it is not life-threatening, the seal of the Eight Tails is already showing signs of loosening. This is a big trouble. Lord Polo, a tall and thin Kumogakure ninja appeared out of nowhere, whispering to the tall, bearded figure. Poirot frowned deeper and asked again, "No traces to be traced?" "No," the tall and thin ninja replied. "It was Naro's body that was found." Poirot raised his hand, let the tall and thin ninja back down, and took a few steps back and forth anxiously. His face became more and more ugly, and even the color of fear flashed in his eyes. If Ross was forced to ask what happened before he died, and that person spread the matter out, then he would be dead. Poirot was disturbed. He had realized how serious the repercussions of the revelation of the assassination would be. And until now, he still can't be sure who is taking revenge. It has such terrifying strength. Because of similar assassination incidents, there have been many times. This is the reason why Polo could not determine the target. He did not directly think of Ali, because it was not only Naros who was avenged, but all the team members brought by Naros have been avenged. The Avenger must have undergone a detailed investigation, and must have prepared many geniuses. Which one will it be? Could it be that among those who had been assassinated before, there were big men? Poirot thought about it, suddenly turned around and walked away quickly, returned to his room in the mansion, opened the hidden compartment on the wall, took out a scroll from it, opened the scroll. There are some people's information on it. These people, they are all gamblers, and the information ends with numbers, and those numbers represent money. This is the assassination list. The more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. He wanted to start investigating one by one, starting with the last assassination target, the one who was supposed to be assassinated last night. It was a little boy, only 9 years old, with nearly 30 million taels of money on his body. Fiscal. Polo found a number of cronies and quickly arranged it. Just 10 minutes later, the first trusted confidant who was sent out came back and whispered eagerly to Poirot. Poirot's color suddenly changed when he heard it, his eyes widened. The little boy is missing. He was gone, and so was the samurai who lived in the room next to him. It's them. It's that samurai. It's that samurai who took revenge. Polo seemed to have figured out something, or he might be guessing at random. Be sure to find them. South of Yihai village, Yuhi Cedar Forest. After Xiao Ali appeared out of nowhere, he took out a Hiraishin kunai from behind the stones in the bushes, leaned against the tree to play with kunai, and began to wait. Engraved doodles. He is writing. First wrote, "Fool," then wrote, "Take advantage," and then began to laugh. Do not know who is laughing at. Luhan quietly appeared behind Ali, but Ali didn't notice it. Luhan wanted to scare him, so he leaned over and found the words written by Kuwu on the ground in front of Ali, and the corners of his mouth suddenly became unnatural. Pumped. Fuck. Who is taking the blame? What the hell is this kid thinking? Ali seemed to feel something, so he stood up, turned around and saw Luhan, startled, then immediately took 2 steps back, rubbed off the words on the ground with his feet, and at the same time put Hiraishin into the clothes. In the sleeves, everything was done perfectly, looking at Luhan with a surprised look. So fast. Just allow you to hurry, but not me. Luhan replied angrily, looking at Ali with a bad look. I want to hit the child. Ali looked at Luhan first and became very interested, but he didn't ask anything, because he was also a person with secrets, and he understood the psychology of such people. Let's go. Where are you going? Elise smiled. I came to the country of Vortex for experience, whatever. What about you? Then let's go. I'm going to White Tide Village. Okay, go to White Tide Village. White Tide Village, the second-ranked trading village in the country of Vortex. The actual controller behind it is the village of Kurigakure in the country of water. Tsunade in White Tide Village. Probably. The two guys who also bear the great secret, just hit the road together. Xiao Ali didn't walk fast, not in a hurry. Lu Han followed, naturally not in a hurry. In this way, the two stopped and walked, passing through 17 small villages in a row, and it took 3 days for them to arrive near Baichao village in the south of the land of Vortex. On the path in the forest, Baichao village is already in sight. The two people, one big and one small, one tall and one short, walk side by side, and they seem to get along very happily. What are you looking at? Lu Han noticed that Xiao Ali was looking around. Bird, there is a very beautiful bird here. Xiao Ali replied casually. Lu Han smiled. A child is a child, and I don't know what kind of beautiful bird he was talking about. Wouldn't it be Kurigakure's bird ninja beast? Xiao Ali suddenly stopped and looked at a tree by the roadside. His face turned white, and his body trembled. Huh. Lu Han was puzzled and looked up following Ali's gaze. It was a small tree. The diameter of the tree was no larger than the thickness of a plate, and a strange symbol was engraved on the white bark, and under the symbol, there were vaguely engraved characters, which seemed to be the word, Ludu. What's the meaning? Lu Han looked at Ali incomprehensibly, but found that Ali's eyes were circled by Yuhi, and his big eyes were full of tears. What's wrong? Lu Han grabbed Ali's shoulder and asked anxiously. Home, family, is in danger. Xiao Ali pointed to the symbol on the tree and cried out loudly. Chapter-910 extremely dangerous. Ali is very intelligent, and his abilities fully meet the standards of a latent ninja, but he is only a child after all, a 9-year-old child, so at this moment, he cried out loudly, and he seemed very helpless. Lu Han's face changed dramatically. He turned back suddenly to look at the symbol on the tree, then looked at the crying little Ali. The hand holding Ali's shoulder subconsciously clenched, and then he reacted and relaxed. Hand. Ali, don't cry. Tell me, what happened? What happened to your family? Be good. It's all right. I can help you. Can you trust me? Lu Han squatted down, grabbed Ali's shoulders, and spoke to Ali in a quiet voice. Can I trust you? Ali asked while crying. Of course. Although we have only known each other for a few days, we are very destined. We are friends, right? Lu Han smiled. In fact, he was already furious in his heart, but he knew that he couldn't mess up. Woo. Ali was choked up and speechless, as if he didn't know what to say. He has chosen to trust Lu Han. Because he believes in his own talent, he uses his heart to distinguish between good and evil, and he seeks good fortune and avoids evil. He once told Lu Han that he has such ability, which is true. Otherwise, he would have gotten rid of Lu Han long ago, and he would not have been able to stay with Lu Han for so long. What is that? What does it mean? Lu Han couldn't help it in a hurry. He pointed back and asked, that symbol. What does it mean? Yes, I made an agreement with my mother, the sign of the agreement. Before, when my mother went out, she said, if Yihai village is not safe, then, come here. It is not safe here, just. Xiao Ali sobbed and told Lu Han about his agreement with Tsunade. Speaking very slowly, Lu Han listened patiently. Since leaving Konoha, Tsunade began to travel around the world with Ali. Because of her gambling and extravagant spending, the legend of Cold Light Treasure appeared in the ninja world, but in the following years, Tsunade encountered few dangers, mainly. It is the ninja world that is peaceful, and the wicked are less courageous. But in recent years, with the outbreak of the Third Ninja World War, the situation has changed. The catastrophe swept the ninja world, and the control of the major ninja villages over the countries was greatly weakened, and there were more and more gangsters. Even ninjas belonging to some decent ninja villages began to secretly dare to loot. Tsunade's troubles are also mounting. For so many years, she has protected her son very well. Except for Konoha, who knows more about Ali, the other forces know very little. They don't even know what Ali looks like. And every time he encountered danger, Tsunade would choose to put Ali in a safe place and not let Ali get involved in these things. The matter of the mark also started after the Third Ninja World War. There are many kinds of signs that she and Ali agreed on, with different meanings, all for the convenience of seeing each other again after separation. Before leaving Yihai village this time, Tsunade told Ali that if there is a problem in Yihai village, go to the next village, which is Baichao village. Wait for Tsunade in Baichao village. If there is a problem in Baichao village, go to the next village. The next agreed village. If there are other changes, it will leave a mark on a tree in the grove in the north of the village. That's why Ali was looking around in the woods before. He wanted to know if Tsunade had left him a sign. Have. And this mark is the first time Tsunade has been activated, and it means, extremely dangerous. Let Ali give up all the previously set moving paths and go directly to Ludu village, for refuge. The word, Ludu, under the sign means the place of refuge. Obviously, Tsunade was in a big trouble that she couldn't solve, and she didn't want to drag her son down because of this, so she left a mark in advance to let Xiao Ali know that by doing this, Tsunade didn't have direct contact with her son, and the enemy would. It is impossible to find Ali because of Tsunade. Konoha village in the land of fire. The village of Konoha has 3 brigades of nearly 500 ninjas stationed there, as well as the Anbu branch. As long as Ali gets there, the Konoha Anbu ninja knows him and will naturally protect him. Maybe even escort him to Konoha if necessary. Not to mention Tsunade's relationship. Ali is the posthumous son of the late Han Guang, and the current captain of Konoha Anbu is a direct disciple who has obtained the true inheritance of Han Guang's swordsmanship. Mom, she is dangerous. She can't solve it. So, that's why. Xiao Ali was still crying after finishing speaking. Lu Han's face was very ugly. He understands Tsunade's temper. After being resurrected, she heard Orochimaru talk about Tsunade, and she had broken up with Sarutobi Hiruzen. If it wasn't for the big trouble, she wouldn't let her son seek Konoha's asylum at all. Lu Han approached the tree and carefully observed the traces on it. The mark was carved with kunai. Judging from the depth of the mark and the change in color, it should have been carved about a day and a half ago, which is too long. Tsunade may have even left the country of Vortex. Is she being hunted down? What should I do? What should I do? Lu Han asked himself a few words, a little dazed. The sea of people is vast, the world is so big, there is no clue to find it. Except for your great luck, it is impossible to find someone. Can I only accompany Ali to Ludu village and wait? Ali has stopped crying, but he is still sobbing, his body is shaking, his eyes are very sad. He is even more at a loss than Lu Han. It was the first time he encountered this situation, he didn't know what to do. Ali, I'm asking you a very serious question. Don't lie to me, okay? Lu Han suddenly looked at Ali and said. What? Ali sobbed and asked back. You know the technique of Hiraishin, right? Lu Han asked. Ali's eyes suddenly widened, surprise, suspicion, vigilance and other expressions flashed quickly in his eyes. I'm a ninja, I'm from Konoha. Lu Han said. Yes, it will, Ali admitted. Okay, tell me. Lu Han grabbed Li's shoulder again. Have you put a Hiraishin on your mother's body? Chapter 0911 _ Do you believe me? Hiraishin kunai can't be thrown around. It's too sensitive, and it's not good for people to study it. However, it is a relatively normal thing to put Hiraishin kunai on people around you, partners, and teammates. Because Lu Han did it like this. Tsunade is Ali's mother, and the two are often separated. Will Ali put a Hiraishin on his mother? No. Ali sobbed and shook his head. I once gave my mother one, but she gave it back to me. She She refused to. Lu Han immediately understood Tsunade's thoughts. Obviously, she didn't want her son to appear by her side casually, because then Ali would encounter the same crisis as Tsunade. However, I'm on, little mom, with techniques. Yes, mom, doesn't know, so I dare not tell. Ali said again, little mom, should, with my mother, in, with. Lu Han was stunned for a moment, then immediately reacted. Mom, naturally it is Hyuga Luo Ning. Ali actually practiced the technique of Haraishin to the point where he can directly leave the technique on people. Lu Han couldn't do it. Can you feel it? Lu Han asked hastily. No, I can't. Ali cried again. If he could sense the Haraishin technique on Hyuga Luo Ning's body, he wouldn't start crying when he saw the mark. Lu Han was overjoyed, and hurriedly asked, how far do you sense the Haraishin technique? 100 kilometers, about the same. Ali said. Not too far. It's very strange. Ali has been able to leave spells on people, but the induction distance of spells is very average, even less than Lu Han, and he doesn't know how he cultivates. 100 kilometers, good. Enough. Lu Han finally gained some confidence. For Haraishin's technique, the sensing distance of 100 kilometers is very ordinary, but the entire country of Vortex is so big. Lu Han only needs to run with Ali at high speed and keep changing directions. As long as Hyuga Luo Ning appears within a radius of 100 kilometers from Ali, he will know immediately. Let's not go to Ludu village, let's go to your mother, okay? And your little mother? Lu Han asked. Okay, okay. Ali nodded again and again, and asked with some uncertain sobbing, do you really want to help me? It's very, very dangerous. In fact, this is a tactful question. Meaning, why are you helping me? I know who your mother is. Actually, I know your mother and you. Lu Han explained it casually, then took a few steps back and quickly hand-sealed. Spiritual. Bang! The top of Lu Han's head exploded with white smoke, and the furry little guy appeared on top of Lu Han's head, crawling on the hat, with a flower in his mouth, and he didn't know what it was doing before being channeled. Shadow cat. No accident? Lu Han asked quickly. Meow. The shadow cat called out, it means nothing. If there is, it will speak human words. How long will it take you to get back to Konoha from here? Lu Han asked again. Shadow cat shook its tail, as if it was doing spatial positioning, and meowed twice before saying, half an hour. Godly speed. It is the true time-space ability of the master. It does not need to leave anything like a spell in advance, it just moves out of thin air. Although the distance of one move is not as high as Haraishin's limit, it can completely teleport continuously again and again. Okay. Lu Han nodded. You give up the mission about Nohara Rin first. Go back to Konoha immediately, and tell Orochimaru that Tsunade is in a life-and-death crisis in the country of vortices, and then ask Orochimaru to inform Anbu Captain Hatake Teishuo, and ask Hatake Teishuo to send Anbu ninjas come to the country of Vortex. Remember to ask Orochimaru to show you Tsunade's portrait, and Hyuga Luo Ning. You tell Orochimaru will give you. In an hour, I will channel you over here again. Understand? Meow. Shadow cat responded. Go. The shadow cat disappeared out of thin air. Although this guy Suinder let it speak human words, it has not changed after repeated teachings, but the task execution ability is extremely reliable. After Lu Han finished speaking, he looked at Ali. Ali had already looked at Lu Han with a stunned expression, and took a few steps back. He was completely stunned, because he didn't say who his mother was, but Lu Han accurately said Tsunade's name and Hyuga Luo Ning's name. Conspiracy. Smart people just think too much, and Ali feels that he has been tricked, because he already understands that from the first moment the warrior named Ghost Sees Sorrow contacts him, he knows his identity. I don't have time to explain. Lu Han said to Ali, and then hand-sealed again. Secret art, even dress-up art. Bang! There was a flash of white smoke on Lu Han's body, and all the samurai costumes were replaced, and he was put on a ninja costume, black robe, black mask, dark yuhi-colored belt, black leather boots, and kunai, shuriken and other items hanging around his waist. However, there is no main battle weapon. No long knife. You, who are you? Why are you approaching me? You. Ali took a few steps back in succession, Horaishin slipped out of his sleeve, and he felt that his brain was not enough. Still too young. Luhan looked at Ali, and a look of love flashed in his eyes under the mask. If he explained the resurrection to Ali, it would be a very, very complicated process. His own father, so he ran away directly. He ran away, and Luhan really couldn't catch up. Because this little guy will be Horaishin. Therefore, in order to avoid trouble, Luhan did not plan to prove his identity. Do you believe me? Luhan asked. You. Ali didn't know whether to believe it or not. For the first time, he questioned his ability to seek good and avoid evil, but, thinking about it from another angle, it might not be the case. Wrong. Luhan just arranged Shadowcat to inform Orochimaru and Hitaki Taishuo, and Ali can see it. You have to know. Luhan spoke again, and half of his words disappeared out of thin air. At the same time, Ali felt a tap on the shoulder, and then Luhan's voice sounded behind him. If I want to hurt you, you are already dead. Ali's eyes widened in shock, he really didn't have time to react. Chapter-901-920 Ali is confident in his own strength, and even a little conceited, because even Tsunade can't do the previous scene. For Ali, who has a strong reaction awareness to pervert, Master Horaishin's technique, even when he is on face-to-face mental vigilance, he is still attacked by others. A pat on the shoulder, really incredible. Who is this person? He is really powerful. Stronger than Mother. Very likely. Ali turned to look at Luhan, who ran behind him, and stopped crying. His big eyes blinked, and the eyes looking at Luhan gradually became eager, the kind of eyes that caught the life-saving straw. Do you believe me? Luhan asked the same question again. Believe. I believe you. Ali nodded again and asked eagerly, can you save my mother? You can, right? Of course, and it's not just me. Orochimaru will probably come to the country of Vortex in person when he hears the news. Anbu's side should also increase the number of people. There will be many people who will come to save your mother. She will be fine, trust me. Luhan comforted Shaoli. In fact, those people can't expect too much, because it will take 2 or 3 days to get from Konoha to the territory of the country of Vortex. After 2 or 3 days, everything may be too late. Induction, and the search of the Shadow Cat. Luhan asked Shadowcat to notify, just to increase his bargaining power in saving Tsunade. Perhaps, even if no one rescues Tsunade, Tsunade may get out of this crisis, and it is not the first time that Tsunade has escaped from the dead, but Luhan can't bet. You can't pin your hopes on the possibility, you must do your best. One more thing. Luhan extended his hand to Ali, lend me your knife, lend me. Ali was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously put his hand on the hilt of the sword of astonishment that was lying across his lower back. He was very hesitant and struggling. He chose to trust Luhan, but he didn't want to borrow the knife. What's wrong? Luhan asked. Since you know who I am, then do you know who this knife is? Ali asked. I know, your father Hangwang's, that is the sword of Jinghong. Luhan said. Since you know. Ali was still hesitant, took the knife off his waist, held it without letting go and thought about it, finally bit Kiba, looked at Luhan and said, I can lend it to you, but you can give it back to me later. Don't break it, I will definitely repay you after I find my mother, but you are not allowed to ask for this knife. On the issue of borrowing his father's relics and saving his mother, Xiao Ali chose to compromise. Good boy, I promise. Luhan said, hooking Ali. Ali dawdled, touched the knife again, and then handed it to Luhan. Return to the original owner. Picking up the sword of Jinghong again, I don't know if it was an illusion or something. Luhan felt the blade of Jinghong vibrate slightly. It seemed very pleasant. Is the sword of astonishment conscious? In theory, there can be. Because the blade of Jinghong, which sells for as high as 600 ingots, is the highest rare weapon. Unlike other rare weapons, such as the blade of Kurigakure that Lu Han gave to Hitachi Taishuo, the blade of Jinghong can evolve. In theory, spirituality can be born, just like the shark muscle in the original book, which is spirituality and wisdom. Lu Han probed the chakra into the blade of Jinghong, and found that it was empty and did not store the energy required by Jinghong Peerless World. But I don't know why Ali didn't store chakra in it. Konoha village, the noisy middle street is bustling with people coming and going, it is very lively. The little black cat was crawling on the windowsill on the second floor of the noodle restaurant, with its tail drooping, looking very unhappy, and the whole cat seemed extremely unmotivated. Just half an hour ago, Shadow Cat picked up a little yuhi flower from somewhere, and in a very tsundere way, gave the little yuhi flower to the little black cat, but the little black cat just politely refused. The Shadow Cat disappeared. It's been half an hour and I haven't come back yet. Stingy, cheapskate, nasty guy, not sincere at all, muttered the little black cat. There are many customers on the second floor of the noodle restaurant. At the table in the corner of the back side, 13-year-old Hitachi Kakashi and Nohara Rin are eating. The little black cat is crawling on the windowsill. It seems boring, but it is actually staring at Nohara Rin. There was a new guest at the entrance of the stairs. It was a handsome young man with yellow hair and imposing manner. The little black cat knew him. This guy was named Namikaze Minato. Teacher, here. Hitachi Kakashi and Nohara Rin excitedly waved to Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato raised his hand to signal that he saw it, and suddenly noticed the little black cat out of the corner of his eye, so he made a gesture, walked to the window first, and said to the little black cat with a smile, "Why are you the only one, that little guy? This guy is coming close again. Annoying." The little black cat glanced at Namikaze Minato with disgust and turned his head away. Namikaze Minato is a little embarrassed. Konoha, these two ninja cats are already special existences. No one dares to mess with them, because behind them is Orochimaru, one of Sannin. Call. The purple little guy suddenly appeared beside the little black cat. The little black cat first wagged his tail with joy, and then put down his tail very reservedly, and squinted at the shadow cat, with a very unhappy old lady. At this time, the shadow cat was holding a pink flower in its mouth. Seeing the little black cat like this, he decisively turned his head and spit it out, meowing a lot, and then disappeared again. The little black cat was in a hurry and turned to look outside the street. "What's wrong? What does it say?" Namikaze Minato asked curiously, who didn't understand cat language. "He's gone, it's urgent, it may take a few days to come back," the little black cat said in frustration. Hokage building. Just after the meeting was over, the ruthless Orochimaru walked in the corridor without saying a word, and did not have any communication with other high-level Konoha and top ninjas who were walking out. He was such a character. Other side of the corridor, Sarutobi Hiruzen was walking in the opposite direction to Orochimaru, because he was going back to the Hokage office, and Orochimaru was leaving the Hokage building. Both Hitachi Taishuo and Jiraiya followed Sarutobi Hiruzen, whispering something. Call. The shadow cat suddenly appeared above Orochimaru's head out of thin air. Orochimaru shot like lightning and habitually grabbed it above his head. Chapter-901-920 I have a clear conscience. Orochimaru hates Shadow Cat scratching his hair very much, but Shadow Cat always kills, if not because Shadow Cat is a cold ninja, or because it can blink infinitely, it may already be a dead cat. And this time, Orochimaru still didn't catch the Shadow Cat. The Shadow Cat flickered on Orochimaru's shoulder, and then squatted on Orochimaru's ear, and said in a very low voice, "Master, let me tell you." This scene is hilarious, because it looks like Orochimaru, who walks coldly, has a little milk cat hanging from his ear. But no one dared to laugh, and other Konoha executives saw it and ignored the scene. Orochimaru stopped abruptly, His pupils shrank violently, and after the shadow cat had finished speaking to him, he appeared on top of Orochimaru's head again, shook his tail, got down, and started playing with Orochimaru's hair with his little paws. Orochimaru doesn't care about that anymore, he's all about Tsunade. The Orochimaru of Konoha's 47th year is still very fond of feelings. In fact, even if it is the Orochimaru of Konoha's 60-year-old in the original book, it is not that the six relatives do not recognize each other. Orochimaru is not an expressive person, and since Tsunade left Konoha, he has only met Tsunade twice and said no more than 10 words. However, he still regards Tsunade as his best friend, as well as Jiraiya. Sanin's friendship is still in the world. Even if the person who sent him the letter was not Han Guang, his temporary allegiance, as long as he knew something happened to Tsunade, he would definitely help solve it as much as possible. No front. Orochimaru suddenly turned around and called out, raising his eyebrows. Anbu's code name, Wu Feng, is the current captain of Konoha Anbu, Hatake Taishuo. The other end of the corridor, Hatake Taishuo, who was talking to Sarutobi Hiruzen in a low voice, turned his back, glanced at Orochimaru, then made a, wait a moment, gesture to Orochimaru, and then turned around and said a few words to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya also turned around and glanced at Orochimaru. The former continued to tell Hatake Taishuo something, while the latter had a strange look, wondering why Orochimaru had something wrong with Hatake Taishuo. Jiraiya stepped on her feet, her figure flashed, she walked through most of the corridor and appeared directly beside Orochimaru. What's wrong? Looking for him all of a sudden. The tall Jiraiya raised her elbows and placed her elbows on Orochimaru's shoulders, and grinned in an unorthodox manner. In the whole of Konoha, he was probably the only one who dared to treat Orochimaru so casually. Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya, then looked at Hatake Taishuo, and said indifferently, wait for him to come over, let's talk together. Huh, Jiraiya said in surprise, it has something to do with me. Related, Orochimaru replied coldly. Really relevant. Although Luhan didn't let him inform Jiraiya, Orochimaru must have told Jiraiya. After all, it was Tsunade who had the accident. He finally finished speaking. Hatake Taishuo, who was wearing a mask, sent Sarutobi Hiruzen upstairs. When Sarutobi Hiruzen disappeared on the stairs, he turned around, glanced at Orochimaru, and appeared directly beside Orochimaru. Is something wrong? Hatake Taishuo said indifferently. At this time, there was no one else in the corridor, and all the ninjas who had attended the meeting were gone, but this is the Hokage building, there is a secret post. Orochimaru glanced out the window and said. The outside said. Not long after, outside the Hokage building, a grove. Tsunade is in trouble in the country of Vortex, it's very dangerous, maybe. Orochimaru explained the situation to the two. In fact, he didn't know much, and the cold light that Shadow Cat relayed was not too clear. But Orochimaru understands that Hangguang is in the country of the Vortex. With Hangguang's strength, if he can solve it, he will definitely not inform Konoha. This matter cannot be easily solved by Hangguang, so you can imagine the trouble. Tsunade is definitely life-threatening. After hearing this, Jiraiya punched the tree with an ugly face. You bastard. I told her to come back, but she didn't listen. After speaking, she immediately said, when are we leaving? Wait. Jiraiya glanced at Jiraiya, then at Hatake Taishuo. Can you mobilize more Anbu ninjas to the country of Vortex? I don't know where Tsunade is, you have to find her first. Although I can do this, I need the consent of Lord Hokage. Hatake Taishuo said. What if you don't tell him? No. Tsunade is your mistress. I understand, but I can't mess around. You say that, do you think you are worthy of the cold light? I have a clear conscience. Both of them spoke coldly, their emotions hardly fluctuated, but they said the smell of gunpowder. Orochimaru is actually very annoyed. He doesn't understand why Hatake Taishuo is obedient to Sarutobi Hiruzen. He doesn't dare to have the slightest disobedience to mobilize Anbu Ninja without permission. It was just a few reprimands. After all, it was to save Tsunade. In order to save Tsunade, he didn't even want to take the responsibility of being reprimanded. If Hangguang is still alive, he will be very chilled if you are like this. Orochimaru said coldly. If the teacher lives to this day, who would dare to hurt the wife? Hatake Taishuo replied uncompromisingly. Don't make noise, don't make noise. Jiraiya saw that the atmosphere was not right, and hurriedly made a round. Let's go to the teacher together and explain the situation to him. It's really not good, just me and Orochimaru. Orochimaru does not believe in Sarutobi Hiruzen. Because he knows Sarutobi Hiruzen's character and style too well. Now is the period of the War of the Ninja World. Will Sarutobi Hiruzen, who has a great view of the overall situation, really mobilize the elite of Konoha to save people for a ninja who has quit Konoha? Even if this ninja world is her direct disciple, will he? Few minutes later, Hokage's office. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Hatake Taishuo III stood at the table. Sarutobi Hiruzen tapped the table with his fingers lightly, listening to Orochimaru explain about Tsunade's distress in the country of Vortex. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened with a gloomy face and did not speak for a while. He didn't ask how Orochimaru got the information, and Orochimaru didn't make it clear what kind of danger Tsunade had encountered. But Sarutobi Hiruzen had already guessed what happened. Tsunade has been in distress many times in recent years, all for the same reason. Because of the treasure of cold light. Chapter 0914 Conditions of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Only Konoha Master has the most information about Tsunade, because Konoha is Tsunade's hometown. Except for the juvenile ninja who grew up in recent years, almost all other Konoha ninjas know Tsunade, and Anbu has never given up collecting information about Tsunade's whereabouts. In Shinobi Village, there are very few ninjas who have seen Tsunade. They have all heard of Tsunade's name, but they don't know what she looks like. Tsunade is 37 years old this year, but he looks less than 20 years old, which is why other shinobi villages have difficulty mastering Tsunade's information. As a Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen has naturally read all the information about Tsunade, especially in recent years. Sarutobi Hiruzen has always hoped that Tsunade can contribute the treasure of cold light, so he pays more attention to Tsunade than before. It seemed that other than the matter of the cold light treasure, no one else dared to provoke Tsunade. There is not enough interest. Moving Tsunade is like poking a hornet's nest, and even if there is enough interest, if the news leaks, it will be cruelly retaliate. Others don't know how much Hangguang's treasure is, but Sarutobi Hiruzen knows it after careful investigation. It is conservatively estimated to be more than 1.5 billion taels. Even if those gems that are too expensive are removed, Tsunade should have them. Master has at least 700 million taels. Seriously, even Konoha doesn't have that much money. And the ninja war is very expensive. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent. In a short time, he thought about a lot. What he was thinking about now was not what would happen if Tsunade died, but what kind of crisis it would cause if the money fell into the hands of others after Tsunade died. How much damage to Konoha, how much threat to Konoha. Teacher, you don't need too many people. Jiraiya couldn't help it, patted the table anxiously, and said eagerly, it's too late. The news came from the country of Vortex. It will take some time to get there, teacher. Let's decide. Quote. Orochimaru stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a cold expression. Jiraiya has already said what he should say. Hatake Taishuo stood by calmly, waiting for Sarutobi Hiruzen's order. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head and glanced at the three people. One was his most trusted captain Anbu, and the other two were his direct disciples. The strength of the three ranked in the top 5 of Konoha, second only to him and Namikaze Minato. And Namikaze Minato, a disciple of Jiraiya. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is assertive, he has to listen to some important opinions, so considering the overall situation and listening to the opinions of important people are also part of the overall situation. Shadow Cat was still crawling on top of Orochimaru's head, looking lazily and yawning. You also know that we are at a disadvantage in the war with Iwagakure village. Amegakure village and Sunagakure village are also waiting for an opportunity. The situation is very unfavorable for us. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke slowly. Orochimaru turned around and left. He doesn't want to hear it. Listen to me. Sarutobi Hiruzen patted the table and stood up, staring at Orochimaru. Orochimaru stopped, paused, turned around to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and said coldly, "Teacher, do you want to send someone or not?" "I can send people. I can send more people, but it must be good for Konoha." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru gloomily. Tsunade has left Konoha. She no longer cares about Konoha's life or death. Ninjas fight enemies, and she's right next to her, and she doesn't even take a second look. She has left the ninja world. Tsunade is my disciple. Yes, I grew up watching her, but she can't compare to Konoha. 10,000 people, do you understand? What do you mean? Orochimaru asked. Saving her must be in Konoha's favor. Sarutobi Hiruzen repeated. Orochimaru understood a little, and Jiraiya and Hatake Teishuo also understood. Conditions. Orochimaru said simply. I need you, and you, to persuade her to go back to Konoha. You can take this as a condition, and if you don't feel confident, then there's nothing I can do. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a serious face, Konoha needs her. When she comes back, we can save her. This condition seems to be fine. In fact, even Orochimaru and Jiraiya always wanted Tsunade to return to Konoha. We can. Teacher, we can, Jiraiya said quickly. Orochimaru's expression moved slightly, but he didn't expect Sarutobi Hiruzen to care whether Tsunade returned to Konoha or not. I have another condition. Sarutobi Hiruzen's voice was heavy, and his eyes glanced at Jiraiya and Orochimaru. If your persuasion fails, if she refuses to come back, she still hates me, I understand. But, I hope she can lend money to Konoha. I think you know what I mean. Konoha needs more money to win this war. Quote. Really open the sunroof to speak brightly. A sneer flashed deep in Orochimaru's eyes. Look up Sarutobi Hiruzen. And, Sarutobi Hiruzen is also for money. He is also for the legendary Treasure of Cold Light, although Sarutobi Hiruzen is for Konoha, but his hypocrisy, his reason for beating around the bush, makes Orochimaru disgusted. It's a very clever word to borrow money, as if Konoha could pay it back. With Tsunade's temperament, if she was really saved by the Konoha ninja, she gave money to stop someone's mouth and not owe Sarutobi Hiruzen's kindness. She wouldn't ask for it again. I'll try to convince Tsunade, for sure, Jiraiya assured. Orochimaru didn't speak, but apparently agreed. In fact, he was sneering in his heart. Han Guang is back. He's in the country of the vortex. You need to be able to deduct money from Tsunade. Hey. To be said, Sarutobi Hiruzen sat back in the chair again. No front. He first glanced at Hatake Teishuo and said, mobilize 3 teams to the country of vortex, led by Bailey. Execute the task of rescuing Tsunade. Yes, Lord Hokage. Hatake Teishuo took the lead and immediately disappeared. After he finished speaking, he looked at Jiraiya and Orochimaru again. You are going, I will not stop you. Jiraiya will inform Hyuga Hazashi and let him lead a squadron of the Hyuga clan to the country of Vortex. Orochimaru, you go to inform the scout troops and mobilize a group to go there. Country of Vortex, you are the commander-in-chief for this mission. During the mission, all Konoha ninjas in the country of Vortex will be dispatched by you. Chapter 0915 Are you Namikaze Minato? What Orochimaru thought before was that it would be enough to transfer some Anbu ninjas to the country of Vortex, because Hangguang himself is in the country of Vortex, and due to the time, no matter how many people Konoha goes to, it is just some help. But Sarutobi Hiruzen mobilized nearly 200 people to the country of the Vortex, including a brigade of professional scouts, 150 ninjas, a squadron of Hyuga clan senior scouts, more than 30 ninjas, and 3 teams of Anbu, more than 20 ninjas. Coupled with the power of Konoha that was originally in the country of the vortex, the total number of ninjas exceeded 700. It can be said that Sarutobi Hiruzen has taken this matter seriously. But what he valued was not Tsunade, but Tsunade's money. Just half an hour later, more than 200 ninjas from Konoha left Konoha in 3 separate ways. Jiraiya and Orochimaru walked together, followed by more than 20 Anbu ninjas led by Hyuga Benin, codenamed Bailey, and finally 180 scouts led by Hyuga Hazashi, including 30 Hyuga ninjas. Orochimaru was supposed to go with Hyuga Hazashi, but he couldn't wait, so he went first with Jiraiya. The country of the vortex, the grassland. The mysterious Lu Han led Ali through the half-human high grass. He had already designed a moving route. As long as he walked along the route, he would be able to sense all the locations of the vortex country in about 2 days. The induction mentioned here refers to Ali's induction of the Hiraishin Kanai on Hyuga Luo Ning. Tsunade within 2 days, because Tsunade can move, and may even leave the country of the vortex, but in any case, you can only try to find it like this. If you are lucky, maybe it will take a long time. Confined Tsunade. Do you know my mother? Xiao Ali, who was being carried, asked suddenly. Lu Han moved very fast and the wind was loud, but both of them were ninjas, so they could hear clearly. I know, Lu Han replied 2 words. Are you familiar? Very familiar. Have you known each other for a long time? 17 years. Wow, so long. After Xiao Ali finished speaking, he showed a thoughtful look. He was thinking about Lu Han's true identity, what Tsunade told her. Some people and some things in Konoha, such a powerful existence, should not be an anonymous existence. You are Sarutobi Yushuin. You are Sarutobi Yushuin, right? Ali suddenly exclaimed, right? No, Lu Han replied, glancing at Xiao Ali. If he can think of it, he will be damned. Whatever he is thinking, he will not think of a dead person, even his father. Oh, that's not right. Mom and Sarutobi Yushuin have known each other since they were very young. The 2 moved forward quickly. Lu Han took Xiao out of the grassland, and after entering a forest, Lu Han suddenly stopped, hand seal. Spiritual. Meow. The shadow cat appeared on top of Lu Han's head, and subconsciously scratched Lu Han's hair. After scratching twice, he realized that something was wrong, and the person under him had changed. Have you seen the portraits of Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning? Lu Han asked. Meow. Okay, the country of the vortex, start looking. Lu Han continued, once you find their whereabouts, immediately reverse channeling me over, understand? Meow. Go. The shadow cat disappeared above Lu Han's head again. What is that? Xiao Ali couldn't help but ask, what kind of ninja beast? Shadow cat, time-space ninja beast, can demonstrate demonic illusion. Lu Han briefly explained, and took Xiao Ali on the road again. This time he directly carried Xiao Ali on his back, and the speed of movement increased again. Ali can know Hiraishin, Lu Han can also, but it is better not to use Hiraishin for this kind of search, because it may be missed. For example, Lu Han can throw Hiraishin a few kilometers away, and then appear a few kilometers away. The jump over a few kilometers away, you are likely to miss the induction. So, just run. Oh yes, give me one of your Hiraishin Kuwu. Lu Han suddenly said. Ah, oh, Xiao Ali responded twice, slipping out the Hiraishin kunai from his sleeve and handing it to Lu Han. Lu Han glanced at it, and sure enough, it was not a basic technique, but an exclusive technique, Ali's Hiraishin exclusive technique, which was written as, freely. Lu Han flipped his wrist and put away Ali's Kuwu. At the same time, another Kuwu with a different shape appeared on his hand. He handed it back to Ali and said, put it away. Why? Ali asked Kuwu subconsciously. Before he finished speaking, his voice wrinkled and his whole body shook. He saw Lu Han's Hiraishin Kuwusheng technique, which is all the techniques created by the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobarama, which can also be called basic techniques. Are you Harishan too? Xiao Ali exclaimed. Yeah, Lu Han responded with a nasal voice. You are Namikaze Minato. You are Namikaze Minato, right? Xiao Ali exclaimed as if he had discovered a great secret. You are Uncle Jiraiya's disciple. I'm not. Do you see that I have yellow hair? Lu Han asked back with a smile. You are disguised. It must be, you are disguised. Xiao Ali said more and more firmly, you are Namikaze Minato. They say no. You are. Shut up. 2 days later, 3 elite teams of Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Konoha Anbu entered the country of Vortex one after another. At the same time, the Anbu branch stationed in Ludu village, the country of Vortex, also received a letter from Konoha Asuka and started the search for Tsunade. Somewhere in the ninja world, an underground cave. On the icy slate platform, White Zetsu was lying flat with his eyes closed, and the old Uchiha Madara stood aside, his hands shining. He was injecting more Senju Hashirama cells into this White Zetsu clone in order to create a new White Zetsu ontology. This is not a complicated process for him. It just takes some time and consumes a lot of Senju Hashirama cells cultivated through Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. There is a situation. A hoarse voice suddenly appeared in the darkness in the rear corner. Madara didn't look back. Jiraiya and Orochimaru both left Konoha 2 days ago and have reached the country of the Vortex. Black Zetsu walked behind Uchiha Madara with a strange tone. In addition to them, Konoha also sent 200 elite scouts to guard Konoha, including the Konoha Anbu and Hyuga clan. Quote. Uchiha Madara finally stopped and turned to look at Black Zetsu with a frown. What happened? Chapter 0916_Muddy the Water. Jiraiya and Orochimaru go to the country of Vortex. Nothing but Sarutobi Hiruzen sent some elite scouts guarding Konoha. This is a problem. The country of Vortex is related to the entire ninja world, even Uchiha Madara, through Kurigakure, in the Vortex. The state secretly controlled some trading villages and made money steadily. I just sorted out the information. Tsunade is in the country of the Vortex. Black Zetsu looked tired when he said this. Someone is chasing Tsunade. It has been going on for 7 or 8 days, for Tsunade's money, but I didn't find out. How did Konoha get the information? Even me, it's very troublesome to collect this information. Quote. Black Zetsu is really tired. Since White Zetsu died, the task of gathering intelligence has been entirely his responsibility. He is Black Zetsu, not White Zetsu. The intelligence obtained by the clones left by White Zetsu either cannot be given to him, or the process is a little more troublesome. Whether it is liaison, information transmission, or task arrangement, there are troubles. Efficiency matter. If White Zetsu's body is still there, White Zetsu should be able to hand over all relevant information to Uchiha Madara on the night that Jiraiya and Orochimaru left Konoha. But White Zetsu died, and it took Black Zetsu 2.5 days to sort out the information. This is the difference. It seems that the gap is not big, but you must know that the timeliness of intelligence is very important. A lot of information expired in 1 day. Because of the death of White Zetsu, Konoha, the effective information that Uchiha Madara could get was less than 1/3 of what it was before. If this situation continues for a while longer, for a few months, as more and more clones of White Zetsu die due to accidents, Uchiha Madara will no longer be able to spy on the ninja world secretly, and the situation in the ninja world will become more and more blurred in his mind. This is why Uchiha Madara must create another body, White Zetsu. The light on Uchiha Madara's hand gradually faded. He thought for a moment, then glanced and asked, who is chasing Tsunade? Or the same group of people last time? No, the group of people from Sunagakure last time, because they let Tsunade escape and leak the news. Most of them have been assassinated by Konoha Anbu, and only a few escaped back to Sunagakure village. Black Zetsu continued, this time they did it. It's not one faction. The current investigation confirms 2 parties, Taki Ninja Village and Omegakure Village, as well as a third-party force. The true identity cannot be confirmed, but based on the current information, the possibility of the heretic god is the most likely. The three forces joined forces, and sent out 200 Jonin and more than 500 Chunin, who were divided into multiple teams, including the ninja with the special tracking ability of the master. However, Tsunade has killed at least 200 of them. Uchiha Madara looked surprised. His first impression was, Tsunade is so fierce. Hyperphobia. Okay. Tsunade's hyperphobia is not good. Black Zetsu saw Madara's expression and knew what he was thinking. It's a heart disease, there's no cure, it's because of Hyuga Luo Ning. They have lived together for more than 10 years and raised them together. The son of Hangguang grows up and is closer than his own sister. Tsunade is strong. Where are they now? Madara asked. I don't know, it can only be confirmed that it is in the country of Vortex. Black Zetsu sighed. Some shame. Because he didn't get back accurate information at all, compared to his reconnaissance ability, there was a big gap with White Zetsu after all. Uchiha pondered, but he didn't mean to blame Black Zetsu. He specializes in art. Compared with assassination ability, secret provocation ability, and combat ability, White Zetsu is far inferior to Black Zetsu, but compared to his investigation, Black Zetsu is exhausted. Zetsu is also no match for White Zetsu. The Tsunade money, haven't you found it yet? Madara asked again. No, Black Zetsu shook his head. Madara pondered again, thinking, in fact, he also wanted Tsunade's money, but his approach was not to catch Tsunade, because he had a deep understanding of Tsunade's character, and Tsunade punched him 10 years ago, making him unforgettable. Such a woman who would rather die than give up and have a strong will, forcibly arrest her, and what she will get is probably a corpse. Uchiha Madara's approach is to go directly to find the money. So many gold and silver treasures, Tsunade can't carry it with him. It must be hidden somewhere. However, he has been looking for it for several years and has not found it yet. Jiraiya, Orochimaru, Tsunade. Madara muttered three names, squinting slightly, and a cold light flashed in her deep eyes. Murderous. Madara thinks of Konoha now and is very upset because White Zetsu died at the hands of Konoha ninjas and Sarutobi Hiruzen is perfidious. Go to Hanzo, Uchiha Madara suddenly said. Tell him this information. Try to get him to go to the country of Vortex personally. Hunt down Jiraiya and Orochimaru. And Onoki, Iwagakure is fighting Konoha. Jiraiya and Orochimaru like this important ninja. He'll be willing to do it. Okay. Black Zetsu nodded, about to leave. Wait, Uchiha Madara called out. He thought about it again, and then said, let me know, Sunagakure, Amegakure, Iwagakure village, Kumogakure, Kurigakure. Muddy the water, understand? Understood. Black Zetsu understood. He knows Uchiha Madara too well. And after Uchiha Madara's arrangement, the problem is not Tsunade and the treasure, but the ninja war. Once the powerhouses from all sides gather in the country of Vortex, because of the relationship between the factions, they will kill each other, and under the chain effect, the war of ninja world will definitely rise again. Moreover, all the forces of the ninja world have interests in the country of the Vortex. Once the country of the Vortex is in chaos, the business system will collapse, and the impact will be so great that the war of the ninja world that should end this year may even be fought for a few more years. The country of the Vortex, on the southern coast, in a medium-sized trading village. The inn room with a strong herbal smell, the pale Hyuga Luo Ning knelt on the soft slump. Tsunade sat cross-legged and stretched out her hands. Her hands were pressed against her back, her hands glowing with a pale green light. Tsunade looked very good. Although she fled with Hyuga Luo Ning for many days, she was not injured. Even if she was injured, she has recovered. He is still Hyuga Luo Ning. She had been badly wounded in battle, had a broken arm, and was poisoned. Although there is no fear of his life, he has no fighting power, and is no different from a cripple. If it weren't for the fact that he had been carrying Hyuga Luo Ning, Tsunade wouldn't have been chased and blocked for so long. Chapter 0917 _ Aroma. For so many days, Tsunade has treated Hyuga Luo Ning again and again. Except for the fracture of the arm, which is difficult to heal, all other injuries have been healed, but the poison has not been resolved. It is a very, very strange poison that Tsunade has never seen before. Because it has invaded the heart of Hyuga Luo Ning, Tsunade did not dare to use extreme means to detoxify. Puff! Hyuga Luo Ning suddenly rushed forward, spitting out a mouthful of dirty blood into the small basin in front of her. The blood was black yuhi, and when it arrived in the small basin, it immediately began to turn green again. Tsunade got up immediately and appeared in front of the small stove on the window table. There was a small pot on the stove, which was still steaming. The smell of herbs in the room was coming from it. Tsunade poured out a bowl of medicinal soup and brought it to Hyuga Luo Ning. Drink, drink all. It's very bitter. Drink. Oh. The pale-faced Hyuga Luo Ning drank the herbs obediently, held the bowl, and lowered her head with a depressed expression. Tsunade walked aside to open the window. Hyuga Luo Ning glanced at Tsunade's back, and whispered, "Sister, I am dragging you down." Tsunade crawled out the window and looked out, but said nothing. Sister. Hyuga Luo Ning collapsed, put the bowl on the side table, then walked to Tsunade's side, hugged Tsunade from behind, pressed his chin on Tsunade's shoulder, and whispered, "Sister, let's go separately." Bar. Tsunade glanced at Hyuga Luo Ning, stabbed Hyuga Luo Ning's forehead with his finger, frowned before saying anything, tilted his head and sniffed on Hyuga Luo Ning's body, and then said with disgust, "It all stinks. Now. Where is it? I changed clothes." Hyuga Luo Ning hurriedly raised her sleeves and sniffed. "Didn't take a bath. Go away, take a bath. Will you wash together?" "I washed it. Together." "Okay, stop pulling." Not long after, the guest bathroom was in a large tub. Surface of the water did not reach Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning's shoulders. The two of them were leaning against both sides of the tub, and they looked very comfortable. After so many days, the two of them rarely took a bath, and it was difficult to escape. "Come on, wipe your back," Tsunade said, picking up the towel. "Oh." Hyuga Luo Ning turned around obediently, with her back to Tsunade. Sudden silence. Hyuga Luo Ning felt the cold behind him. "What's on your back?" Tsunade asked coldly, looking at Hyuga Luo Ning's back. There was a line of vertical tattoos on it, in the middle of the back, near the back of the neck, tattooed with 4 words, "Freedom away." It's Ali's Hiraishin technique. Hyuga Luo Ning's face changed, and he suddenly turned to look at Tsunade with a panicked expression. "Who asked you to print this kind of thing?" Tsunade slapped Hyuga Luo Ning on the shoulder, eyes pissing at yuhi. No, Hyuga Luo Ning hurriedly explained. "It's Ali, he suddenly printed it on me, that time I took a bath. No, I didn't take a towel, I asked Ali to bring it to me. I sat in the bath in the bucket, with his back to him, he handed me the towel from behind, and suddenly slapped me. It was printed, and then he ran." Tsunade was crying, weeping. She didn't want her son to find her easily, because that would bring danger to him. For example, in the current situation, if Ali sensed this Hiraishin technique and suddenly came over, he would be in the same danger as Tsunade. Middle. Sister, I tried, but I can't get it off." Atmosphere became dull, and Tsunade didn't know who to blame. Maybe, he should blame himself. If he wasn't terrified, what would he be afraid of? He took a shower without a word, put on his clothes without a word, and left the bathroom without a word. Tsunade began to miss his son and became more and more worried. The dressed Hyuga Luo Ning followed behind Tsunade carefully. Not daring to speak, she slowly sat on the chair beside Tsunade, just picked up the teapot. Tsunade suddenly shot and held Hyuga Luo Ning's hand. "Sister, I was wrong, don't hit me." Hyuga Luo Ning was so frightened that she almost cried. "Don't move." Tsunade's face was wrong. He pressed Hyuga Luo Ning's hand, lowered his head slowly, sniffed on Hyuga Luo Ning's body, then frowned deeper, raised his head and asked, "What's the smell?" "What?" What's the smell? I just washed it. Hyuga Luoning didn't understand what Tsunade was talking about. He lowered his head and sniffed on his shoulder, and then his face changed. Really tasty. A special fragrance, but not the so-called body fragrance. This smell does not belong to Hyuga Luoning. Fleeing for so many days, Hyuga Luoning washed herself for the first time after being poisoned, and it was the first time the two discovered the smell. This fragrance is very similar to the highly poisonous smell in Hyuga Luoning. That's it. Tsunade stood up suddenly. His pupils contracted violently. It's this smell, they track it by this smell. No wonder they always find us. No wonder we can't escape, it's this smell. Through scent tracking, in the ninja world, it is mostly a secret technique. It is not just ninja dogs that can track scents. For example, the Aburame family of Konoha, who keep bugs, use the secret technique of tracking scents with bugs. Tsunade thought of it all at once. For so many days, she took Hyuga Luoning to escape from the battle many times, but was found again. Tsunade once thought about what tracking secret technique the other party used, and it was so powerful. It turned out to be the smell. And now it seems that if the poison on Hyuga Luoning's body is unsolved, the smell will not dissipate. Tsunade subconsciously glanced at the ring on Hyuga Luoning's finger, which was given to Hyuga Luoning by Luhan more than 10 years ago, the ring of isolation. Tsunade knows the effect of the ring and can isolate the breath. Normally, Hyuga Luoning is difficult to track, but obviously, the smell and the breath are different. The poison can break through the effect of the isolation ring. The effect is powerful. Imagine. Medicine. Take medicine. Cover up the smell. Tsunade ran to the table by the window, dug out a large amount of herbs from the small bag, picked it up, and took out a purple flower from it. Eat. Tsunade just turned around, but his body suddenly became cold. Murderous. Boom. The terrifying knife light completely tore the wall on one side of the room, a huge fireball smashed the window, and dozens of Hiraishin kunai shot from the outside. Chapter-901-920-Enemy. Sometimes ninjas really do anything for money. Although they are not deliberately killing innocent people, they will inevitably accidentally kill some people. For example, when Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning escaped from this medium-sized village with a population of tens of thousands, the innocent people who were killed and injured have already been killed. There are hundreds of people. More than 100 mysterious ninjas chasing down this time, of which there are more than 30 Jonin. The leader is a cage-level existence that Tsunade has never seen before. If Tsunade does not have hyperphobia, it must be I won't run away, kill him without leaving a piece of armor. However, there is no if. Tsunade's only fortunate thing is that he is not only a medical ninja, but also a taijutsu ninja, and his ability to escape and break through has not been affected too much. Southwest mountains of the land of Vortex, afternoon. The dusty Luhan and Xiao Ali walked side by side in the mountains and forests. The two bought some hot rice balls in the small village at the foot of the mountain before, and they were eating while walking. Just now, Luhan also inquired that 6 days ago, in the mountains south of the village, there had been a battle, and the flames of ninjutsu had caused a mountain fire. After that, the ninjas in the village went to see it, saying that it was a trace left by a group of senior ninjas after fighting. Luhan has been looking for Tsunade for more than 2 days, and he hasn't found it yet. The entire country of the Vortex has been sensed by Xiao Ali, but Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning have been moving, so even if they sense it once, they may miss it. For example, assuming that Ali starts from Yihai village, no matter which direction he goes, as long as he does not leave the 100-kilometer radius of Yihai village, he can judge whether Hyuga Luoning appears in Yihai village. However, Hyuga Luoning probably arrived at Yihai village after Ali had walked 200 kilometers. In this way, Ali had already sensed it, and Hyuga Luoning also came, but missed it. Two people, one big and one small, are walking deep into the forest. Luhan planned to go to the battle site to see if it was related to Tsunade, maybe there would be new clues. Are you full? Luhan, who was wearing a half-face mask, asked with his head tilted. Yeah, Xiao Li, who had eaten 3 rice balls, nodded. Go. Lu Han grabbed Xiao Ali, suddenly accelerated, and ran towards the depths of the forest. The terrain of the southwest mountain range in the country of Vortex is very complex. Even if the ninja has special abilities, the speed of action here will be affected. At that time, Kurigakure village once stationed a legion here to attack the country of vortices. Lu Han was also here. He fought with Kurigakure many times, and finally rescued Hyuga Luo Ning's father, Hyuga Heung, and joined forces with Orochimaru, Senju Senluo and others. War Boiling Rain. Lu Han was quite familiar with the general terrain of the southwest mountains. Even if more than 10 years had passed, the direction of the mountains would generally not change. Half an hour later, Lu Han smelled a stench, and immediately slowed down. There are already signs of damage in the forest ahead. Lu Han and Ali walked for a few more minutes, and finally entered the battlefield where the ninjas fought 6 days ago. The radius of half a kilometer is full of clear battle marks. Kaden fire style is burning. Traces of Sweden water style impact, and a large number of towering trees that collapsed and collapsed. At first glance, it was a mess. It's the smell of corpses. Xiao Ali said. Well, it's been 6 days, and the corpses should have already rotted. Lu Han said, and then he stepped forward and jumped up to the big tree that fell across the front. The tree was 3 meters in diameter. The house blocked Lu Han's sight. After jumping on the tree, Lu Han only saw 3 deformed and rotten corpses in the big pit behind, and there were traces of being eaten by wild animals. Because they were corpses, Lu Han couldn't see their strength level, but the identity information was there. 2 are from the village of Omegakure and 1 is from the cult. Xiao Ali jumped to Lu Han's side and saw the corpse below, but his expression was extremely calm. He obviously killed someone. For genius endure, it is normal to kill someone at a young age, not to mention that Ali is often in danger. Let's walk away and see if there are any suspicious signs. Lu Han said, his face a little gloomy. The 2 searched separately and soon reunited. It's Mom, Ali said, his face full of worry. Well, the traces of physical magic. Lu Han nodded. Tsunade's battle traces are very characteristic. Violent physical attacks. 1 force can defeat 10 times. There are many big pits on the battlefield, and some of the big pits have corpses. It seems that Tsunade did it with his body skills. I saw the actual combat traces of 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven, and the ground was rolled out of spiral traces. This must be Hyuga Luo condensed dry. 10 years ago, Hyuga Luo Ning was already an elite Jonin, and now she is only 30 years old. The 10 years when Lu Han was sleeping should be the best growth period for Hyuga Luo Ning, but I don't know how strong she is. Lu Han has determined that the enemy comes from 3 forces, Omegakure, Taki Shinobi, and the Cult of God. Let's go. Lu Han pulled Xiao Li and led him away quickly. Nothing to see. Tsunade fought here 6 days ago, and left a mark for Ali 3 or 4 days ago, which proves that Tsunade didn't suffer here. Lu Han took Xiao Ali to the depths of the southwest mountain range with blonde hair, that is, to the south. After another half day, Lu Han had brought him to the location where Kurigakure was stationed in the Legion camp in the southwest mountains. There was no trace of the camp anymore. All the years have been wiped out. It was dark, it was dusk. Are you hungry? Lu Han asked Li while standing on the tree. It's okay, Ali said. Lu Han frowned suddenly, turned his head to look to the west, and the insight map showed that 5 kilometers to the west, more than a dozen Yuhi names were moving eastward rapidly, and the leader was a level 40 gold boss, from the evil god sect. Enemy. Tsunade's enemy is naturally Lu Han's enemy. There are enemies. Lu Han looked at Shi Dao, then dodged and disappeared. Xiao Ali immediately took out Horaishin Kunai and threw it out to keep up with Lu Han, but he was still not as fast as Lu Han. After a while, when Ali was a few kilometers away, there were already a dozen corpses on the ground, and 2 more. The enemy is alive. Lu Han beheaded another enemy like a ghost. Boom. The golden light shone, and more than 20 pieces of falling objects flew out, turning into a streamer and drilling into Lu Han's body. Xiao Ali's eyes widened, looking confused. Chapter-901-920 He can see. Cultist, level 40 gold boss, Heavy J. This was the last enemy. He was the strongest, but Lu Han kept him from killing him. He wanted to capture him alive and ask for some information about Tsunade. Chang Jie is a middle-aged man in a gray robe, holding a unique half-moon scimitar, a chain around his waist, and a lot of rings on his hands, looking full of evil temperament. Who are you? Chang Jie asked in a low voice. He seemed very calm, even if everyone else was killed by Lu Han, even if he knew that he did not have Lu Hanqiang. Where is Tsunade? Lu Han asked directly. He. Chang Jie suddenly made a very strange whisper and took a step back. He understood and naturally wanted to run. Lu Han turned into a shadow and approached quickly, slashing out. Poochie. Chang Jie was cut off in the middle, and blood splattered all over the sky. Lu Han frowned. It shouldn't be like this. He didn't want to kill at all, and this guy was killed because he didn't hide, and even though he died, he didn't explode the drop. There is only one possibility. He is not dead. Open the insight map. Yuhi name. Southwest. 32 meters away. Lu Han came close. There was a scream of rage from that direction, and at the same time, in the grass there, a stone jumped up and turned into a figure of Chang Jie. Lu Han caught up with him. This guy was in hand seal, but it was too late. Lu Han stabbed him in the abdomen and nailed it to the tree. Tell me everything about Tsunade. Lu Han's masked face approached Chang Jie's face, his eyes piercing. Ha. Chang Jie sneered while vomiting blood, and then began to ramble. Great evil god. Your believers can no longer help you. His voice stopped, and his eyes became dull. In Lu Han's eyes, the eternal Mangekyo was spinning rapidly. Tell me everything about Tsunade. Lu Han repeated. Boom. Golden light erupted from Chang Jie's body, and more than 20 pieces fell out like a spray of Izumi, then turned into golden light and penetrated into Lu Han's body. He died. Lu Han withdrew the sword of Jinghong, frowning tightly. He hates cultism. The ability is so weird. Then, what is that? Xiao Ali ran behind Lu Han and asked with wide eyes. Lu Han glanced back at Ali and explained, the ninja of the heretic god sect has very different abilities from our normal ninjas. I killed him just now, but he actually ran away, and the corpse left behind. It should be his backup. This time he really died. No, it's not what I said, it's not him. Xiao Ali glanced at Lu Han with a blink of an eye, and gestured with his hand. That's when you dropped him. He flew up. There seems to be gold, and there are knives. Yes, knives. And scrolls. Golden light. Dazzling golden light, like fireworks. As Xiao Ali continued to say with gestures, Lu Han's expression gradually solidified, and he was stunned. What is it? Xiao Ali asked. Lu Han looked at Xiao Ali incredulously. His body flickered suddenly, and appeared in front of Xiao Ali like a ghost out of thin air. He stretched out his hand to Xiao Ali and asked, can you see it? Xiao Ali looked down, then picked up the scroll in Lu Han's hand, frowned slightly and looked puzzled, and shook his head to Lu Han. Are you talking about this? He can see. He can see the drop. You can even pick up drops that only subversives can touch. Normally, the initial state of the dropped objects cannot be seen by people other than Lu Han. Only after entering the space backpack and taking it out, some can be seen by others, such as kunai shuriken and other weapons. Can never be seen by people in the Hokage world or scrolls, potions, ingots, badges, etc. Xiao Ali broke this law. He saw it all. Xiao Ali was looking up at Lu Han with a look that was so incredible, so surprised, so interested. While waiting for Lu Han to explain, Lu Han was still a little confused. Elf, explain, Lu Han said in his heart. He is your son and has your blood. He's also a subversive. Of course not, subversives are the only ones that exist, and in the same world, there can only be one subversive. Then why can he see it? He's your son. Well, that's the reason. Lu Han asked, is it possible that my descendants, the ninjas with my bloodline, can see it? It's inaccurate to say that. It can only be your direct descendant. Moreover, blood can be transplanted or obtained through experiments, so the statement of blood is not correct. Then, can he use items that only subversives can use? Some can, some can't, such as resurrection scrolls, recovery potions, he can't use them. Where's the scroll? Just when Lu Han asked this sentence, because Lu Han didn't speak for a long time, Xiao Ali looked down at the scroll in his hand curiously, and naturally opened the scroll. Whoa, the light flashed and the scroll disappeared. Part of it works. The elf's voice sounded in Lu Han's mind. Xiao Ali looked confused. The scroll was gone. It was not his thing. This situation would make him subconsciously feel that he was in trouble and used up some disposable ninja scroll, but then, he felt something special in his mind. This. Xiao Ali slowly widened his eyes again, then jumped back 10 meters and quickly hand seal. Secret art. Dark fog art. A thick black fog appeared around Xiao Ali, and the fog became more and more dense, gradually covering a radius of 100 meters. The technique of dark mist is very similar to the technique of Kurigakure. The difference is that the mist formed by the technique of dark mist is black, while the mist of the technique of Kurigakure is white. Obviously, if this technique is used at night, will work wonders. Lu Han couldn't remember who got this scroll by killing him. He just took it out from his space backpack. How could? The fog dissipated, and Ali walked up to Lu Han again. He was no longer able to speak, and his face was a little ashamed, looking very, very sorry. This kind of scroll, you can learn a kind of ninjutsu after using it. It's very, very precious. Chapter-920-reverse channeling. Xiao Ali didn't figure out the logical relationship between murder and Jingguang Ggn, but he knew very well that this kind of scroll, which can be used to obtain ninjutsu, is very, very precious. Moreover, this kind of scroll is real in the ninja world. Although it can only allow ninjas to obtain some low-level ninjutsu, however, this is not something of Ali. Ali's upbringing determines that he feels ashamed at the moment. Lu Han looked at Ali coldly. In fact, he was communicating with the elves, and his eyes were subconsciously cold. That, I will compensate you. Ali said quickly, after I find my mother, I will ask my mother to compensate you. She has a lot of money. A smile gradually appeared in Lu Han's eyes. Surprise. The son can use the subversive scroll. You can also get ninjutsu through scrolls, which is not a bad thing for Lu Han. Of course, that's not necessarily a big deal. To tell the truth, even if it is possible, Lu Han doesn't want to help Ali pull the seedlings. Giving him some scrolls can quickly enrich his strength, but it is a complete waste of his talent, which will make him slack and even rely on it. Heart. Lu Han is a subversive. The rules give Lu Han a shortcut, and Lu Han has to take this shortcut, because his own talent can only be regarded as a general genius. But Xiao A is different. Pervert monster who can master the exclusive Horaitian spell at the age of 9. What a terrifying talent. If he really slackens, starts taking shortcuts, and abandons his practice, then he is really guilty. Slacking off is scary. Lu Han is a subversive, but he has never slack off. When he was practicing swordsmanship, he worked harder and harder than anyone in Konoha, so today, Lu Han's strongest fighting ability is swordsmanship. And such as Raiden Thunder style, Chakra mode, and even Sage mode, it is only an increase effect. I'm here, I have 30 million taels here, you see. Xiao Ali took off his burden. No need. Lu Han held Xiao Ali's hand and said with a smile, you don't need to pay me. When I find your mother, let her make up for me. Okay, this is the best, then you must find my mother, otherwise I won't be able to compensate you. Xiao Ali smiled, his eyes were a little sly. Okay, I'll definitely find it. Lu Han smiled and patted Ali's little head, then pulled Ali up and threw it on his back. His feet turned into a glimpse and flew southward. The body hasn't been searched yet, Xiao Ali said while holding Lu Han's neck. They're all experienced ninjas and they won't have clues. I mean, they have money on them. Quote. What was that just now? Golden light, scroll. I can't tell you yet. Is it some kind of secret technique? It's the forbidden technique. Shut up. A day later, somewhere in the ninja world, an underground cave. On the stone platform, as Uchiha Madara took his hand away, White Zetsu, who was lying flat on it, slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were very blank. He got up with a blank expression, and stood beside Uchiha Madara. Is his ability the same as the previous one? Beside Uchiha Madara, the boy with one eye closed and scars on his face asked indifferently. The boy looked 13 or 14 years old, with a slender body and a simple linen robe. If there's a Konoha ninja here, you'll recognize him, Uchiha Obito. It's not the same, it's a little bit worse. The old Uchiha Madara said. Check what? Obito asked. Memory, Madara said. A faint chakra fluctuation suddenly appeared in the dark corner of the cave. Black Zetsu walked out of the darkness slowly. Obito saw Black Zetsu coming. He turned decisively and walked towards the entrance of the cave passage at the other end of the cave. He was used to it, Madara when talking to Black Zetsu. I don't like him overhearing. Obito left the cave, and Black Zetsu walked to Madara's side. Fusion, pass the memory to him, Madara said. Black Zetsu merged with the new White Zetsu body, and shared memory. Before White Zetsu was killed, he cloned from Black Zetsu in the forest and rushed towards Lu Han. The memory of White Zetsu owned by Black Zetsu stopped there. For a moment, it can be said that the new White Zetsu got almost all the memories before White Zetsu was killed. This White Zetsu is no different from the previous White Zetsu. How's it going? Madara asked. Hanzo is already on his way to the country of the vortex. Julian said. Hokage, the fourth generation, has not left, and he is not sure if he will go, and Onoki refused. He does not plan to go to the country of vortex. Iwagakure and Konoha, the war has put him under a lot of pressure. Quote. Where's Rasa? Madara asked. Rasa is the current fourth generation Kazekage. Rasa said he will contact Hanzo. Jesuit said. Well, Uchiha pondered for a while, then said, you also go to the country of vortex, provide information to Hanzo, let him kill Jiraiya and Orochimaru. If I also goes to the country of vortex, try to force him to fight against I. Don't we need to do something ourselves? Ju asked. If the treasure of Hanguang falls into the hands of others. No need. Madara shook her head. Killing Tsunade and putting the blame on Hanzo. Don't mess around. Madara snorted, squinting at Ju. If possible, go and let Hanzo kill you. Don't expose it, understand? Understood. Can only nod. Usually this kind of conversation is dominated by Black Zetsu's consciousness. Black Zetsu is now dissatisfied with Madara. Madara has become conservative. This is related to Madara's end. Madara is looking for an inheritor, and he doesn't want to cause unnecessary trouble in this critical period. The country of the vortex, noon. Southwest coast, small fishing village. It is a small noodle restaurant like an open-air food stall. 2 long tables are placed near the beach, and there is a pergola above. Lu Han and Xiao Ali were sitting side by side, both eating fish noodles. The two had already walked out of the southwest mountains this morning, and there was no news from Tsunade. Eat more, I have to walk a long way in the afternoon. Lu Han said, picking up the noodles. Xiao Ali bit his face and nodded, slurpingly ate a large bowl, and slapped the table again. Boss, another bowl. Lu Han's face suddenly changed, and an irresistible force acted on him, and in an instant, he disappeared. Shadow Cat Reverse Psychic.